The first 2 days of the 2025 NFL Draft are in the books. What's in store for day three? We talk about it. Plus, could there be a massive position change for one of the Jets' biggest free agent signings? Oh, yeah, we got you covered. Boy Green Daily starts now.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Let's go!
Put your seatbelts on. Get ready for the ride. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Paul Esden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your bleeping podcasts. Guys, keep us, I have you guys staying informed on all things New York Jets. We've had live shows every day, as we always do at 7:30 in the morning. We have a top 10 list, getting you ready for day three, the top 10 players the Jets should consider here on day three of the draft. You guys can check out that video in the YouTube video section. We've been having instant reactions. I have my phone out recording me live as I'm finding out these picks when we're watching it on the projector television here. So we have those quick videos too, and then videos on every single draft pick as well, being updated and uploaded minutes after the pick. So we are cranking, baby, and let's keep it rolling because we've got a special guest to kick us off here on a Saturday. And let's let it rain from the high heavens, baby. It's time for Boy Green Daily with a very special guest, a very special one. It's Hop on Pop Saturday, baby. What's up, Pop?
Hey now. Good morning, Boy Green Coffee Club.
And pour one out, Ricky New York Live. BG, how ya like me now for Azare Thomas, or AZ Thomas, as they're calling him, to avoid saying his name in Jets land. And Florida State to the Jets. See, the train continues. Jordan Travis last year, now you get AZ Thomas. That we'll see what other potential former Florida State players could join the Jets. Joshua Farmer is someone I would like very much, but perhaps more on that in a little bit. Thank you to everybody in all the comment section. Let it keep raining. Like the video, hit subscribe. That's a free way to contribute. And feel free to get us started here. And I see you guys have some questions on certain prospects. We'll get into that here in just a moment, folks. So keep your questions rolling. We'll get to those, and super chats we'll address first. But, Pop, let's get into this. So we will, of course, get your thoughts on all the Jets draft picks, but we'll start with the latest pick that they got here in the draft. And it was going to defense for the very first time. And, hey, I don't mind the Jets starting with offense for the first two picks. That's always a good time. There's no question about it. But there's always a particular interest when the Jets decide to go to the defensive side of the ball because their new head coach played in the National Football League for 15 years playing on that defensive side of the ball. And it's Azarie Thomas is how it's supposed to be pronounced. Thank you, Dane Brugler, for that. Azarie Thomas, the Florida State corner, a lanky guy who's at 6'2", 196 pounds. Now, here's the problem. There doesn't appear on the surface to be a clear starting job for Mr. Thomas here because the Jets have Sauce Gardner, Michael Carter II, and Brandon Stevens, who they gave $36 million to at corner. So he could just be really good depth and a really good player available. Dane Brugler graded him as a second-round pick. But Connor Rogers speculated on social media that this could mean that Brandon Stevens could go to safety coming out of the combine. Nick Ferry, a Jets reporter for Jets X Factor, said coming out of the combine, Brandon Stevens was actually listed at safety. So this is something that could make more sense to get all the best players on the field. I'm not sure where your stance is on this, so I'll float it over there. If you think that we should sort of fast forward this young man to the field because of his talents, or is he just a good depth and basically replaces Brandon Eccles as our top backup?
Yeah, so let me first say
All right.
that let me start off with this is my opinion. People will not like it. but it's my opinion. I do trust Aaron Glenn on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
But at face value,
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand this pick at all. And I'm
Hmm.
going to start in for two different reasons.
Okay.
Okay. Three
Yep.
different reasons, actually.
Wow. All
If
right.
if they are truly considering moving Stevens to safety,
Mm-hmm.
uh, that doesn't make any sense. Because if you wanted the safety, Xavier Watts was on the board. So it makes zero sense to make that move since you already paid this guy $36 million. You're like the Patriots now, drafting a guy. And by the way, you're not playing left tackle, you're going to right tackle. That causes problems. By the way, everything you've been doing, you're not doing anymore. Thanks for coming. So that's one of the things. Um, I don't like that they picked a cornerback in this spot because it wasn't as pressing a need. If they had drafted Xavier Watts, I've got nothing to say. But drafting him to replace Stevens to go, beep, 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 Kung Fu Panda, I'm not a big fan.
Yeah.
And the other problem is the third problem in this scenario, and just, I can't see your comments due to some technical issues we're seeing, so I'm sure you can blow me up at will. The third problem is he by far was not the best cornerback on the board at the time.
Who
By
was?
NFL rankings, by Mel Kiper rankings, completely separate rankings, there
Yeah.
was another quarterback who had first round grading that was available and selected two or three positions. I don't have in front of me. Two or three positions later,
Who was that?
Siobhan Ravel Jr.
Yeah, he was 4 picks later to your Dallas
Yes,
Cowboys, which I think you'd be happy
sure.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about him because he went to the Cowboys. I'm talking about him because barring an injury, he's a top 10 pick.
Right.
And
But the
even with the
injury, I
injury,
guess, was
even coming off the injury, he was slated in the first round with
yeah.
the rankings in both NFL, and he was available. So that's why. And again, let's go back to the fact I don't think we should have drafted a quarterback at this spot, anyways. So
Yeah.
it's not. They shouldn't have drafted a cornerback. If
Okay.
they drafted a cornerback, they drafted the wrong guy. And if
Hmm.
they wanted a safety, they should have drafted one because one of the best safeties in the draft was available. Those are my 3 points on this.
Okay. Lots to unpack there. I agree with you on Xavier Watts. I liked him a lot. There must be something else going on from what the media thought he was to what the NFL teams thought he was, because something obviously isn't vibing there that he slipped this far. Hell, we've had draft analysts commonly mock Xavier Watts at 42 to the Jets. That happened quite frequently over the coming months. So that one I can't explain. So I'm not really sure what's happening there. Darren Muji, they've been doing press conferences after every round of the draft, right? First round, day 2, they've been doing it. And the way that Darren Muji explained it is that they were like giddy because of how high AZ Thomas was on the draft board. They said, "Hey, we just went BPA, baby," and that's why they took him. So as opposed to forcing need was the sell job that they provided from that perspective. Again,
BPA? Are you shitting me?
well, they had BPA. That's what they said. I don't have their draft board in front of me, but I would say I don't have the video anymore because I deleted it before the show, and it's a longer video. But long story short, what everyone is saying about AZ Thomas is he's an Aaron Glenn guy. He fits everything that he's looking for. And you now have that depth. Again, you lost Brandon Eccles in the offseason, and he was your top reserve. So if you think this guy has future starter potential or could be a starter immediately, again, depending on this potential of any position change or anything of that nature, then it makes a lot of sense to take him. And he's a former corner, too.
Yeah, not to be disrespectful
Oh,
to
boy.
Ricky from New York,
All right.
but this gentleman didn't break in the starting lineup of one of the worst teams in the ACC until this last year.
Okay.
So, well, that's going to mean something.
That's
One of
it.
the worst teams in the ACC, he didn't start until last year, and
But
he's
isn't
a
that
junior.
a
He's a
coaching
junior.
decision? How is that on him?
Yeah, so they said, "Oh no! I know you're the best player we have on this entire team, but we're not going to start you. That's just a coaching decision." He didn't show up. He didn't show out. He didn't show up.
I don't know. I think that being a 1-year starter is, I
That's
have
just
no idea.
I'm not saying it's an all-in data point. But I am saying it is a data point.
That's fair.
right?
Another,
He wasn't behind Deion Sanders. That's why he was riding the pine, right?
perhaps. The thing I would say, though, to me, because one of the big criticisms, you haven't brought this up yet, but I'll just fast forward to boop, 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 TiVo this one for AZ Thomas
It's
is people
slow
go,
as
whoa,
F.
there you go. I'm glad you brought that up. 4.5840 is what he ran at his pro day. And
Yeah,
think
and I
about,
heard what Aaron Glenn said.
yeah,
That's not football's blah, 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 blah. And that's what we measure everybody by. Don't give them a
no,
pass.
well, that's true, and we will get to what AG said. But no, what I was going to say is I have been very blessed to be at many Syracuse football pro days. It's really cool. I can't. There must be another room in the house that has all my passes from the pro days, media credentials. Super cool. What I will tell you about pro days is the numbers can be a little
Fudgy.
unreliable. Yeah,
Fudgy.
sure. Right. Like, no one's going to remember who this player is outside of me and you on this show, but Amba Adetawo, a Maryland transfer that came over to Syracuse. He goes to the combine, right? The combine for big everybody. And he runs like either a 4.49 40 or like a 4.5 40. And people are like, thought he was faster. Weird. He goes to the Syracuse Pro Day a month later, runs a 4.3,
He runs
and
a
everyone's
3.9.
like, yeah, let's go. And people are like, whoa, how the hell did it jump that high? What happened? Well, Pro Day. So the fact that AZ Thomas ran a 4.5840, which is not good in general, boy, was that even juiced up for what it could be. That's another thing. So that's what I was just sort of going to
Right.
lay out there. But for those who did not hear the AG clip, I'm not going to play it in its full entirety. It's a longer clip, but it's well worth seeing. Go to my Twitter or Instagram. You could see it. But he talked about the difference of tape speed versus play speed. And again, I go back to this because people, again, you've just mentioned it specifically at the corner position that you wouldn't have taken it anyway. But if you would have went insert this direction instead. I just say I am some random boob. I am
I was
absolutely
just going to say
not
that.
going to question AG for this corner or this corner and say, yeah, AG, I'm
Yeah.
not so sure. He was in the National Football League for 15 years, played at an incredibly high level. If he says that corner, if we're going to, again, Aaron Glenn is a first-time head coach. He's never been a head coach before. There's a lot you could question. For me, I'm not going to be questioning any of his corner evaluations.
Yeah, and I'm with you. And I started off by that, right?
You
I'm a
did?
nuclear regulator, right? That does some research on the side. But I will tell you that there's enough data points here that there is some concern, right? He was by multiple people, like he was, I don't remember what number he was, sixth or eighth ranked quarterback in the draft. Number 2 or 3 was available. He's slow. He's only played 1 year as a start. There's things that are concerning. That's all I was saying. Again, I've never played cornerback in the NFL, and but it just seems like a lot of question marks for something that was nowhere in the neighborhood of immediate need.
He was a second round graded value from Dane Brugler, so that in getting him in the third round at 73 on paper, something
Yeah,
sort of interesting.
but his overall ranking
Was
his
sixth. He was
overall
a sixth
score,
corner. Yeah,
yeah, and it was
graded
beyond that.
by Dane
I mean, his
Brugler.
actual score was 75. His overall positional score was 75.
Oh, what's
Right.
that, PFF?
That is the next gen stats by the
Oh,
NFL.
okay. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, sure.
That's a
Okay.
combination of his production and athleticism score.
Oh, okay.
And he was 10 points lower than the cornerback who was available. And again, it's not because he went to Cowboys. I didn't know this guy from Adam, and I'm saying the Jets should have taken him. That's my opinion. If you're going to take corner, it'd been this guy. I was not an NFL cornerback, but there you go.
So I will just say this to put a bow on this so we can talk about other things on the topic. I wish the media would have asked AG and Muji, because this was openly speculated on social media. What does this mean for Brandon Stevens? How does AZ Thomas get on the field? Does he not get on the field? Is it just competition? So I wish they would ask that question. Unfortunately, they did not at the presser yesterday. They obviously will have a presser after all the Jets picks are done today. Remember, they have a pick in the fourth round. They have 2 in the fifth, 2 in the sixth, no seventh. So depending on whatever trades potentially happens here. So hopefully they ask that question after, so we're not left to speculate anymore about it. I do want to get your thoughts on the rest of the draft as well. Plus, we want to look forward, but I want to get to a super chat shout out here that's come in. And by the way, guys, feel free to continue to send those in. Absolutely love it. That's a cool way to support the show. Also, join the Boy Green Coffee Club in the YouTube description down below. And this is from our guy, EZ. And let me just say this. Every time that we get a super chat on the show, we hear from my daughters, Rylan.
Wow.
EZ, who's been a member for 9 months, has the pressing question. If Shaduer Sanders is there, do you take him in the fourth? And I want to make this perfectly clear. As my father is enjoying the epic slide of Shaduer Sanders, I am trading up to the first pick in the fourth round to take Shaduer Sanders. I cannot believe that he's available. And I would just say this, because this is obviously the biggest topic of conversation all over the world right now. You don't have to like Shaduer Sanders, and obviously my father does not. He does not think very highly of him at all. And a lot of people seem to be on social media enjoying his fall. Yesterday, he's live streaming a lot of stuff on his platforms. Someone prank called him, and he thought it was a real team. To me, that's super shitty. Whoever did that, screw you out there. That makes me sick. His whole family's gathering around him. He thinks he's having the real call, and then it like eventually hits him that it was a fake prank. And I have like a pit in my stomach. That's how disgusting it makes me feel that someone did that to him. And again, the draft slide has to stop. We could debate like, first round this or that. We're in the bleeping fourth round, man. This guy was top 10 in the Heisman voting. He was the most accurate college football quarterback last year with a 74% completion percentage. This bothers me to an intestinal level that he is still available right now. And I don't know what the hell's going on, but here's what I will tell you this, that the NFL is clearly telling Shaduer, all the teams have so far, that you're not good enough. And you know what? NFL teams are wrong all the time. Dak Prescott was a fourth-round pick. Tony Romo went undrafted. You could go through, and those are just random Cowboy quarterbacks. Russell Wilson was in the third round. Tom Brady in the sixth round. Quarterbacks have been told all the time that no, and then they have a chance to prove them wrong. Shaduer Sanders has a massive chip on his shoulder. I hope he uses all of this as fuel. I am all in on Shaduer. I was all in before any of this, and I said it before days ago, weeks ago, that I would consider him at this point or this point or this point. And now he's here in the fourth round. Man, this guy's going to have a massive chip on his shoulder. He's tough as nails. I would absolutely take a chance on him. You have a chance to get a franchise quarterback, and I don't give a flying hoot. People say, but wide receiver, Paul, defensive tackle. None of that trumps the potential of having a franchise quarterback, and you plug him in QB3. And if it works out, great. You just found a franchise quarterback in the fourth round. If it doesn't, who gives a bleep? It was a fourth-round pick. So I think the Jets should absolutely be aggressive here.
Yeah, so a lot to unpack there. Let me start off with, I predicted this fall. I predicted
to the fourth
he was
round.
Tumble. He was going to tumble down. And here's the problem. And here's the reason, right? There's questions about his mechanics, about how he throws the ball. I've said it before. It's questions about his accuracy. It's questions about how long he holds the ball. And that's just the football side of it. He went, and there's multiple GMs and coaches out there that he was the worst interview they had ever conducted. He just reeked arrogance. He was a jackass during the interviews, and just forget that. So get over the fact that he acted that way. The fact is, do you want to bring that personality into your locker room? Hopefully, I don't know. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. I haven't, nothing broke up. I've been hearing your string of thoughts. I didn't want to interrupt you. Go ahead. Can you not hear me? Hello? Okay. Pop, all right, well, 1 second here. We're going to... Okay, we're going to kick Pop out of the studio. We didn't lose him at all, but apparently he lost us, so I'm just going to let him know that. But we'll let him continue his thoughts here on the show. I will say this, Easy, I hear that you're not saying Sanders. And I would just say this because my Pop, I'll let him finish his points. I got nothing against this at all on the Shaduer Sanders topic. Did he do everything right? I have no idea. There are no cameras inside those private meetings 101. Did he, quote unquote, as my father said, handle himself like a jackass or something? I don't know. I did see the anonymous scouts and stuff that said he was arrogant and dismissive, and some people have accused him of playing the game, so to speak, like that he may have been trying to force his way to a certain team, and that the NFL is teaching him some grandiose lesson with all of this. I don't know about any of those conspiracy theories. It seems unlikely that the 32 general managers all got together and said, hey, F this kid. I don't know. obviously, Sanders has either rubbed some people the wrong way because the talent is obviously there. The talent is absolutely obviously there. So, like I said, I don't know if he rubbed people the wrong way. I heard Daniel Jeremiah last night after the draft that if he was in the Shadur Sanders camp, he would not make this public, but he would reach out to all the teams that he met with and call their general manager and basically give a plea to say, hey, man, I don't know. I just want you to know that I'm all in on football. It's not about any of the other stuff. You take a chance on me, you won't regret it, basically. Things of that nature. Pop, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so yeah, we when you were going on your Shadur Sanders rant, we didn't lose you at all, and then randomly you just said, "Hey, did you lose me?" And then
Yeah. So I'll
I
keep
don't know.
talking and let you
Yeah,
come back on. But anyways, so there's the problem is you got to figure out how he's going to fit into your locker room was what I was saying. And
right.
when he comes in hot and just saying things and I don't know, there's just all that stuff that comes with him. And so he does have talent. Is he going to, I'm not sure that he's going to mature into a starting NFL quarterback. I think this would be good for him either way to humble him. I don't think it's not he hasn't been blackballed by the NFL, but he kind of did it to himself with the way the interviews progressed and multiple people independently talked about it.
Again, I will say, because I don't know if you heard this as you were getting back on, did he, to your point, all these anonymous people that have come out and said, did he F up the process? Did he have arrogance in the room? Was he trying to play the game? Or did he go in certain rooms and try to tank interviews on purpose because he didn't want to go to that team and try to play it? Maybe this is humble pie. Maybe. But I'll tell you this, obviously, this process has to be humbling now. He thought he could go in the first round, and now he's still available here on day 3. This is one of the most epic draft slides of all time that we've ever seen for a guy that it doesn't appear to be medical related. We've seen those before. Dallas Cowboys, boy, you should know better than anyone. La'el Collins was a first round pick that went through the entire thing from other concerns and ended up being a wonderful player for the Dallas Cowboys. So non-medical related, this is one of the most epic draft slides of all time of what they were projected by everybody, not just ESPN. I've heard some of those criticisms too. It was the ESPN hype machine. Every notable draft analyst on the planet had Shaduer Sanders as either a first-round pick or at worst a second-round pick is what people had him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is sort of crazy.
And that's based on talent alone. And so I would tell you the Jets have 2 4s, 2 5s. Do I have that right? And a 6?
1/4, 2 5ths, 2 6.
Okay. So I don't have an issue if the Jets have an opportunity to select him. I don't want them to select him in the 4th round. There's work that needs to be done that has not been done, right?
Yes.
Some confusing picks. Again, I'm not Aaron Glenn, but we're talking about it, and we'll get to that in a minute. The gentleman from LSU, I've got a few things to say about him.
Oh, Mason Taylor, the son of Jason Taylor, sure.
Yeah. Anyways, but so we got work to do. But right, if he's available in the 5th round and the Jets take a flyer on him, I don't have a problem with that. But I think at least the 4th round or maybe the first 5th round, there's some work to be done. That's my point. I'm not against the Jets taking him if the talent's there. But right now, that talent's not going to help them. It may help them down the road, but that's not what I would do the 4th or the first 5th round pick.
Which I won't speak to the Shadur Sanders part for Lily and Big D, but in terms of needing others, for Lily and Big D, I said his comment earlier, we're getting a lot of comments, so I lost it, but he said, like, man, we haven't addressed defensive tackle yet, which, again, is to the point of, like, needs that could be there. Again, safety's still out there, defensive tackle's still out there, pass rushers out there, wide receivers out there. There's a lot that the Jets have not checked off yet. Again, the thing I would say is, what is more important? Let's bring up safety as a random position, right? The Jets need a starting safety. Yes. I think we can all agree there. Could they start Tony Adams? Sure, they could. He's been the starter the last couple of years, and he's currently on the roster. So there is a world where we can squint and say, oh, Tony Adams and Andre Sisco are the starting safeties on this team. So I think there are worlds where some of these holes we're talking about maybe do not get addressed in the way that we hope. Again, I hope defensive tackle is higher on the list as a random example, but with some of these needs, to me, the thing that trumps all of this is the chance at a franchise quarterback. And when you're the Jets and you're here in the fourth round, you're like, holy shit, we had no idea he was going to be here. Again, that's what they said apparently about A.Z. Thomas, about him at the third round. They're like, holy frick. Okay, well, who gives a flying hoot what we had? He's right here. We've got to take this guy. I think that's what should be the possibility there for Shadour.
Yeah.
Even though there's other needs, quarterback is just so important. And sorry, Ricky New York, Jordan Travis has never practiced before. I'm not considering him at all in the quarterback room.
Yeah, let's think about this though.
Okay.
This coach GM combo, the 1-2 punch, the Malazzi crunch for those Happy Days fans out there, right? Let a 4-time NFL MVP, Super Bowl winning Hall of Fame quarterback go because let's just break it down because he had a shitty attitude.
Sure.
Now you've got an unproven gentleman who has a shitty attitude. Are you going to bring him into your team and to sit quietly over there and be a QB3? Is that going to work out? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. That's why I don't think they will draft him.
And they may not, to your point, because whoever takes Shaduer Sanders is going to be one of the biggest stories on the planet for at least the next week, but perhaps longer because of the son of Dion and this story being the theme of the draft. So maybe just for those reasons, they're like, you know what? Maybe he could be the guy. But here's the thing that I also go back to, right? So you mentioned that, and that's true, right? They move in silence is what Aaron Glenn said he wanted to do this offseason. Obviously, that was impossible with Aaron Rodgers. But all the time, Pop, me and you know this better than anybody, and so does everyone else, I'm sure. The more talented you are, the more bullshit you'll deal with. It's happened since the dawn of time. If the Jimmy Johnson story, Pop, you can probably even tell it about, the backup special teamer in the back of the room that fell asleep during a meeting, and Jimmy Johnson said he cut his ass when it was the star player, whoever it was, Troy Aikman, Michael
So
Irvin.
what he said was,
yeah, go ahead.
Would you have done that if it was Emmitt Smith? And he said, no, I'd bring him a pillow.
Yeah. See, that's exactly. So,
But
that's
Shaduer Sanders isn't any of that.
But the talent.
He's not any of that. He's a quarterback from a bottom of the barrel FCS school. He's not a superstar. And the problem is he can't figure that out.
I don't know.
He can't figure it out.
I haven't spoken with Shadour. How could you not be humbled by this experience? I think it's going to make him go, damn, okay, I thought it was here, and now I've been humbly put here. At least we'll see. Does he even get his name called in day 3 now that we've gotten here? And again, not because of talent, but because of everything you just said. Has he essentially been blackballed because of all this stuff? And now teams are going to say the same thing you did. The Jets aren't. Let's talk about this for a second. The Jets are not going to be the only team that says, oh man, we don't want some extra noise coming from our backup. We're in day 3 now. This is backup players that you're selecting or dart throws that maybe, who knows, right? Sometimes 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round picks end up being starters.
Players.
Sure, 100%. So, but mostly backups. Aren't other teams going to say the same thing? Why would our QB2 or QB3 have all this baggage? We don't want that. And does he just completely go undrafted? And if that happens, that's going to be the craziest thing of all time. I just think that he has been humbled, and I think that we're going to get a different Shaduer Sanders. We're not going to get this loudmouth, brash guy running all over the place. I think we're going to get a different version who says, okay, I message loud and clear, NFL. I'm going to put my head down and prove all you wrong.
Have you ever heard Deion Sanders talk? Has he ever seemed like he's ever been humbled to you? But anyways, so it's going to be interesting. But I'll tell you this. The teams like Pittsburgh, who never knew, right? They never knew that they were going to get 4 shots of the apple so far in this draft, right?
Sure.
And so when they let him go the first time, they pretty much let him go for the whole draft. When you're I'm talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers exclusively because of their need at quarterback. So if you really had some inkling of that you wanted him and you'd let him go by at 21, you just let him go by. Like, goodbye.
Especially, and I'll add this, I disagreed initially in my brain, but the more I thought about because they didn't have a 2nd round pick. So passing on him at 21, they're like, well, he ain't going to be there in the 3rd round. So they were passing on him entirely. No, that's a very fair point. We have a super chat in here. Just this is all on the Shaduer Sanders stuff, excuse me.
Wow.
Easy says, will Woody Johnson push for Sanders to make a splash? And I think what he means is will he push his regime to draft Sanders, thus making a splash? I will say this. I don't think so. I we can try to address it specifically. I'll put it in a few pockets. I think Woody is going to allow AG and Darren Muji to do whatever they do, and if they say, hey, if they go to Woody and say, hey, we're thinking about this, or they like kind of keep him a part of the process because it's quarterback and everything that is included, like they sort of talk to him about it because Woody seems very engaged, like he likes to know what's going on. He's in the room. Maybe there's conversations openly about it. Guys, let's spill all this on the table because that's what Darren Muji said. I'll probably play that clip before the end of the show of what he was asked, what is your plan on day 3? And he talked about breaking down the board, reassessing, going through those conversations, and having open dialogue before this draft, which, by the way, day 3 officially kicks off in less than 4 hours. That is coming up at noon here on the program. I think open conversations can happen. I don't see Woody pounding the table and saying, we need to take Shaduer Sanders. Can you believe this this slide, this draft fall? I don't think that's going to happen, Pop.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen either. And I'll tell you that, even Jerry Jones, right, who wanted Johnny Manziel.
Right. Oh, my God.
The coach has got to, at some point, you got to toe the line. You got to hold it up. And, I think AG is, as an early coach, hey, I can't go in that direction. That's not what I want to do.
Yeah. I would also say this, Pop, do you remember? So the Cowboys wanted Johnny Manziel that year, and Jerry Jones specifically. Do you remember who the pick was instead
Right
for the
now,
Cowboys?
you may hear me, but I'm having issues again.
Okay. All right. I will drop Pop out here. We'll see if we can bring him back. 1 second. All right, we'll try to get Pop back on the show. Sorry for any technical difficulties, everybody, with my Pop on that as well. We'll see if we can get it back, and I'll give him that Dallas Cowboys trivia, perhaps, that he can enjoy. I'll say this, easy. I don't anticipate Woody Johnson coming to the room going, boom, we got to take this guy. But if he's in the room and they're having open dialogue about it, I can imagine him sort of like openly, curiously going, this, that, the other thoughts, like asking, and he should. If I was the owner, I'd want to be asking questions. Why is this guy sliding? What do you guys think? Give us the guts. Let's have open dialogue about it. What is there to hurt about having that kind of open conversation? So no, I don't anticipate him draft day style saying people like to get wet, Sonny. We need a splash. People, pay to go to the SeaWorld to get a splash. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen. Matthias says, is it possible he goes undrafted? We've already gotten to this point. I think it is possible, and I think it would be crazy. I think Shaduer is going to get his chance in the NFL somehow, some way. 4th round, 5th round, 6th round, 7th round, undrafted free agent, however the hell it's going to happen, because we're already in crazy land now. He's going to get his shot, and I am going to be one of the biggest, loudest advocates for Shaduer, whether he comes to the Jets or not. I will be rooting incredibly hard for him. So we'll see what happens. Pop, can you hear me?
Yeah, I switched phones, hoping that this will make a difference.
Okay. Anywho, before we go on, I wanted to ask you that trivia thing. You were right on Johnny Manziel, of course, that Jerry Jones wanted him really badly, and the rest of the room was able to convince him to go a different direction. Do you remember the different direction the Cowboys went in that first round?
I can't remember what year it was. It was a while back. I don't remember.
Zach Martin is where the
there you
Dallas Cowboys went instead. Think about that for a second, right? Right. Zach Martin just retired this offseason along with Tyron Smith and everybody. Zach Martin's going to go into the Hall of Fame, and they were this close to Johnny Manziel. And I could only imagine Johnny Manziel's problems in Cleveland. How would that be in Dallas with all the temptations and things of that nature?
Yeah, before we go anywhere forward, I would like to wish Boy Green a happy birthday, as today is his birthday. He is 32 years old, and most prognostics did not believe he would live this long. But there he is. Happy birthday, 32 years old, Boy Green.
Thank you, Pop. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. Shout out to my fiance. You guys may notice a brand new camera here. I've gotten the update. I'm pretty sure this is the one Pop has at his New Hampshire home. I think that's more his work camera than the one we use. But yes, very nice. You can see my pores. I actually wish you couldn't get a better image of me, and probably you guys feel exactly the same. And I also have to work on the lighting because I look like Casper over here with all the new stuff. So we'll work on all that behind the scenes. But thank you, everybody, for all the kind words. And there's nothing else I'd be rather doing than doing those 2 a.m. top 10 players we should be looking at in the draft. The draft is what I care about. So it's hilarious that
That's right.
that this is part of the process.
And a shout out to your lovely mom and sister, as I have not seen them, but hello, girls. Love you. All right.
Okay, there you go. And guys, keep those super chats and memberships flowing, baby. Again, we're trying to make a chase to 10,000 subscribers. You guys have been awesome with all of our draft coverage. We've been cranking out content as fast as possible and the quality as high as possible. So, guys, keep doing that. And again, thank you so much for all the birthday messages. That means a lot. Pop, before we look forward, let's look to the past. We have not gotten your thoughts on the first two picks for the New York Jets. And then obviously, I think a lot of people are interested. Okay, let's turn the page forward and talk about who could possibly be available. Again, in my YouTube video section, I have a top 10 best player available. They're still all available right now, and who the Jets could get in a variety of rounds. Some of the players I included could be 6th-round picks, 5th-round picks, 7th-round picks. They don't have a 7th-round pick, so it could be anywhere. So I tried to include a nice hodgepodge, not just 10 guys that are all going to go off in the first 10 picks of the 4th round. A nice little variety there, so that'll be great. So, Pop, first off, we'll go to the first round. Armand Membu, Missouri offensive tackle. He's the guy. What do you make of that selection for the Jets?
Yeah, I did do some investigating before the draft, hearing that he was likely a potential candidate for the Jets. Again, experts, not myself, were saying that he was more likely to succeed in the interior of the line than he was out there at right tackle. With that being said, and I thinking that we had Okafor, I did not think that we had to jump up there and take him at 7. So I would have gone somewhere else at 7. I would have gone defensive tackle, or potentially a different offensive lineman. But they're high on him. They're happy. So I'll just say that I have mixed feelings about it, but I hope he's going to be have a long, successful career.
Here's what I wanted to make sure I did, because I was a guy that was not for Armand Member in the first round. I was obviously a Warren Warrior. I wanted Tyler Warren. But what I think was really important to bring a part of this process is, if I didn't want Armand Membu or whoever the offensive lineman was in the first round, our hope was that at either 42 or 73, we'd find that right tackle. Again, I'm a Chukwuma Okorafor guy, so I'm higher on him again than everybody, so I totally understand that. But still, we wanted that competition of another thing. I think the interesting thing is, well, what happened? How many offensive linemen went, and who were the targets, and would they have made it to these Jets picks? Number one, there were 8 offensive linemen that went in the first round at either tackle or guard. So a little bit richer than some people thought. So 8 offensive linemen went. That includes Armand Membu. Some of the alternative options, Pop, that we floated as Jet fans saying, well, we don't need offensive line in round 1. Don't worry. We can find it in a different round. That actually did not seem to prove correct, because if we're taking a gander here through the draft at some of these other offensive linemen that went, one of the names I'll bring up is Ariante Ursary. He would not have made, or he would have made it to 42 for the Jets, but he had some other issues, so he made it past, but wouldn't have made it to 73. Anthony Belton went late in the second round. Ozzie Trapillo, a very commonly mocked 73rd overall pick, he went 56. He went 20 spots higher than that. So some of the alternative possibilities for the Jets expired off the board. So going in reverse history here again, as a guy who was a Warren Warrior at first, damn. The Jets did good business, apparently attacking it at 7, completing the offensive line, because it looked like those alternative options disappeared pretty quickly.
Okay, and what we don't know is what the team, what the offensive line coach think of Okafor. We only know what we believe, and so maybe he was more of a project, a stretch, a backup player all along. Maybe that's what the missing piece for some of us that thought that we didn't necessarily have to go to offensive lineman at number 7.
That's another possibility. I see the super chats rating in, everybody. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Wow.
All right, here we go. We've got a lot of birthday messages. Thank you, guys. That's super cool of sending those in. Really appreciate it. Let's see. First up to bat is NC Green Baby. Birthday wishes, BG. It's great. I will tell you guys this story. My pop probably remembers it too. Again, I was like 5 or 6 years old, and I've got many siblings. And my one of my older brothers is Nicholas. Nick. You guys have not seen him on the show. Maybe that happens one day. And I went down to wish him a happy birthday. His birthday's on January 8th. And I went down to wish him a happy birthday. And he just turned like some evil villain in an office chair and just sort of turned to me and said, "It's just another day closer to death." And I went, okay. And then I left the room. And forever, I have that it burned in my memory. Every time a birthday comes, I'm like, another day closer to death. So, Nick, wherever you are out there in the universe, God bless. Another day closer to death, Pop.
Yeah.
So there you go. You have that one added to the list. Let's keep the Super Chat birthday messages going, guys. Thank you so much. Very much appreciated. Again, we're adding these all to the totals, and we'll be keeping track of those because at the end of the month, we'll have the BMAC replacement emoji happening here on the show. So we'll have more of that coming up after all of our draft coverage. Easy, baby, with one of these. We're going to hear a couple of wows.
Wow.
Happy birthday, Boy Green. Thanks, EZ. Always love your calls and takes, brother. You're always a fun time for sure. So appreciate that. With your other super chat combinations, you just picked yourself up a couple more raffle tickets, EZ. So thank you for the kind message. Very nice. And I think we have one more here to get to. Yeah, for Lily and Big D, baby, with another one. Hey now.
Wow.
All right. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate everybody sending those in. Thank you kindly. And hey, now we've got a lot more show to go. And again, we continue to crank here on the gosh darn program. So there's Pop's thoughts on Armand Membu. Let's get to the next one. I didn't know that Pop had such a take apparently on this next fella coming in here. But LSU tight end Mason Taylor was the pick for the Jets at 42 overall out of LSU. And it's weird that, and I said this on several parts of different shows yesterday, that forever it was mocked that the Jets would take Mason Taylor and Armand Membu. But like then we're like, yeah, well, it's mocks. Then the reality hits and other things happen. So the fact that we've been so on temperature is sort of eerie, especially for a new regime coming in. So yeah, it seems like you have a take, Pop. Mason Taylor, tight end out of LSU. What's the problem?
Yeah, so let's not say it's a problem. Let's talk about it. So the problem, I have to get I haven't had a Monster drink. For those of you that don't watch the show, I have a Monster every show.
Okay.
There's no Monster here in Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
So I have to drink a Power Horse energy drink.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, so here's the problem with Mason Taylor. There's no way we talk about the experts and where they have him ranked. He was way overrated at where he was. Right. And the problem is this.
Okay.
If the Jets, and to me, right, a tight end is either a slow wide receiver or a thin lineman. Right. That's it. You should eat a few more biscuits and you could be an offensive lineman. Or you should eat a few less biscuits and run a little faster. You'd be a wide receiver.
Interesting.
And so what they got was a kind of a blocker and kind of a receiver. And in my opinion, they could have gotten, they should have gone for the better receiver. This guy, and I'm only going to say this person's name once just as a reference point, and then I'm not going to mention it again, although he did go at the top of the third rounds, right?
Yeah, is that where he ultimately went?
From Bowling Green, had 200 yards more receiving last year than Mason Taylor had in his entire career. And so let's just break down Mason Taylor.
By the way, real quick, Harold Fanta Jr. was the third pick in the third round of the Cleveland Browns. Beautiful.
That's right. Bob. So do you know?
All right.
Do you know
sure.
what the largest number of receiving yards that Mason Taylor ever received in a game? Do you know what that number is?
I will say this. I don't know that, but I know the stat in which you're saying. And Mason Taylor never in his college career had a 100-yard receiving game in his career.
Yeah, I'm not even saying that. So let me help you out. He never had a 90-yard receiving game. He never had an 80-yard receiving game. Okay. He never had a 70-yard receiving game. He never had a 65-yard receiving game. So what I'm saying is, if you wanted a ham and egger for a receiver, or what did you want, right? And so if you wanted a blocker, you could have just got a skinnier lineman, right? He doesn't catch a lot of passes. You said it earlier last night or on one of your extra videos, right? And you kept using the word prolific. So he was the most prolific tight end in the history of LSU. LSU didn't even have a tight end for the first 50 years. They don't believe in the position.
I believe I said this out of both sides of the mouth in a proper way, not like a goofing around way. And I will say this about something else that you've said too. Two things can be true. He can be, quote unquote, the most prolific receiver in LSU history, and he is by the numbers. But I also said that
tight end, just to be clear, not receiver.
Not receiver. Tight end. Excuse me. Obviously, yeah, they've had a cajillion really good wide receivers. So he is, according to the numbers, the most prolific tight end in LSU history. That is factual by the numbers. But it's also factual that that's not really saying much because, again, look, I have all of his numbers in front of me here. So,
and I'm not suggesting anyway they take the gentleman. I totally wasn't going to say his name anymore at 42. That's not what I'm saying. Okay. But I'm saying that this was an overreach for a lower value guy. He's not that valuable. Go look. They say he's not that great of a blocker. Go look. They say he can't get free and he's not very fast. Right? In his college career, he was like a Conklin light. He averaged like 300 to 400 yards receiving a year. It's not that exciting for a guy at the top of the second round. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. So I think multiple things can be true here. First off, Mason Taylor received a first round grade / early day 2 grade or early second round grade, from Dane Brugler. So that was on value. But I would say this. Is Mason Taylor a massive upgrade over what the Jets have? Unequivocally. Quite frankly, a warm body would be a massive upgrade over what the Jets currently have at the tight end position. I am not a believer in Jeremy Ruckert. I'm not a believer in Cole Smart. So that's in a bucket. Okay. Mason Taylor's an upgrade. No doubt about it. However, my questions for Mason Taylor are, I guess, threefold. Number one, you may have already said it. He seems to be what's the trade? I'm going to jack of all trades, right? He seems to be competent in a variety of areas of the tight end position, but it appears that he lacks an eliteness at any specific area. And sometimes when you get players like that, you're like, what's your role end up being? Because when you get drafted in the NFL and you have one elite trait, like Jalen Miller, let's bring him up. He's no longer on the board, unfortunately, but he's this elite runner, right? And you're like, oh, cool. That's the foundation. He's at least this. And let's see if we can add on this. When you are not elite in any specific area, it's interesting to find out what your role is at the next level. So you mentioned the other thing, again, that he hadn't had 90, 80, 70, all these yards. Again, he had never had a 100-yard receiving game in his career. The other thing that
never more than 63 yards, 63.
Sure. That's another way to be incredibly specific about it, but it's the same result. The other thing I would say is, so there's a lack of touchdowns. That's another thing. That his touchdowns happened. Dane Brugler has it here.
4.
He found the end zone once every 21 and a half catches. So he wasn't scoring a lot. But my bigger complaint is explosive plays. 6 of his 55 catches in 2024 went for 20 yards or more. That's an incredibly small percentage. And go to my preferred choice, to be honest, would have been Elijah Arroyo. While he also is sort of a one-year wonder due to injuries, he's a guy where the explosive plays were all the way here, and you're going for upside. And again, we talked about those elite things that you're chasing. Wowza, you can see it. But obviously the Jets must have not felt pretty good about the medical part of the equation. So, like I said, I think multiple things can all be true at the same time. It's a massive upgrade over what the Jets have. But they're betting on traits. They're betting on upside. They're betting on things that they see. He's massive, 6'5", just under 250 pounds, NFL bloodline, so he's been around NFL preparation his entire life. Obviously, with his father, who's a Hall of Famer. His uncle is Zach Thomas, another Hall of Famer. So he's got a lot of football around him. So he's a pro's pro, I imagine. But the fact of the matter is they're betting on the traits and saying, hey, he's this, and our coaching can take him here. And you either are going to believe they can do that or you're not going to believe. And that's ultimately where we're at here on Mason Taylor.
Yeah, I just think, you don't take pick number 42 in the 42nd best player in college football of 120, 130 teams as a middling guy at a bunch of things. That's my point.
Fair enough. Hey, let's get a bunch of stuff in here. Jimmy Jets with a 20-pack of Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. Good Lord. Double check here. We can get Pop doing one of these.
Number 44.
Woo! 44, that's me!
Get some cold cuts. Get some cold cuts. Get some cold cuts.
Woo! Give me some!
Pop, can we get Nicky Shuffle over there?
Yeah, not right now. Not at this time.
Well, anywho, here are the 20 new members to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Shout out to Jimmy Jets, baby. Rick got a membership. Whatever Wizard. Let's see. We have NYI Saraf, Harlem-born Bronx bred, Infrared Jets, Mahar Khalil, J-Boy's back, Don Rec, Coochie, Darnell Towns, Jerry Moore, Sharp Instincts, Franklin Fung, Christian Bainbridge, Astral is off the chain, James Kennedy, Brandon H, Jet Life 321. You guys are all now members to the gosh darn Boy Green Coffee Club, baby. So there you go. A nice 20-pack, Jimmy Jets. You just doubled your total you had 20 raffle tickets prior to that massive contribution to the program. Thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate you. A few more super chat conversations to catch up on here, Pop. Let's go to Chef Kelvin Gilbert, baby, with a super chat. Hey now, let's go.
Wow.
Happy birthday, BG. Enjoy your day, bro. Let's go, Jets. And Chef Kevin Gilbert, by the way, was at the Jets draft live party, which they hosted at MetLife Stadium. And there was autographs and all kinds of things with Jet players. One of the Jet players went on his Instagram and was like, hey, look at everybody all here. And Chef Kevin Gilbert was in the front of the line. And so we got a Chef Kevin Gilbert shout out. So love you, buddy. Awesome. Thank you so much for spreading the love. And yeah, to be honest, it's all in the Jets' hands now. You know, like have a good birthday. Well, let's see if the Jets can give me a good birthday with some good draft picks, baby. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm thinking about right now. So I appreciate you. So there you go. All right. So thank you for that super chat. Let me make sure I caught up on all our memberships and super chats here. I believe so. If anyone I missed, let me know here. I think I've caught up on everything. Let me make sure. Yes, I believe so. So, Chef Kevin Gilbert, thank you so much, buddy. I really appreciate it. So, Pop, you've given us your take, excuse me, on their first two picks, and AZ Thomas, for that matter. We got into that. So, hopefully, there's something else here that can help because for breakfast here, someone pissed in your Cheerios. You just hate every Jets draft pick that they've had. Come on, man.
That's not true. That's not true. I didn't say I hated them. I think they could have done better in a few scenarios. But again, I started the whole thing off by saying that this is their job, this is their profession. And everybody in the chat, just so you know, everyone in the chat, you're just some goof with a keyboard. All right. I just want to make sure you know that.
Oh,
right.
I don't think that you're in WWE. You start turning on the WWE universe here. What the hell?
So I am just a guy giving my opinion. You don't have to like them. And if you don't like them, realize one thing.
You've got 2 words for us?
I don't give a fuck.
Oh, that's not.
Yeah, I got 2 words for you in classic DX fashion. And I won't say it because I'm trying to be respectful.
Okay.
Suck it.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. There you go. That's one way to do it. So thank you, everybody. So that's some brutal honesty. We have 700 people in the room, by the way. Thank you so much, and thank you for all the birthday wishes. I appreciate it, everybody. Here's a birthday wish you could give me.
I love the coffee club. I love the coffee club. Take the like button to Pound Town, people.
Okay, well,
help Boy Green out.
Actually, someone else took a different approach with a super chat coming in here. Coochie wanted to say, and senior, some goof with a mic. Cowboys
That's
suck.
true.
Wow.
Good Lord.
So half of that statement is 100% accurate. I am just a goof with a mic. So.
Okay, well,
the other half is not factual, but I'm not going to. I don't come on here and even mention Cowboys. People just like to churn it up in the chat. So,
yeah, well, Coochie, thanks for being a member for 7 months. We appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
As it's coming out, Pop. Let's do this. Let's turn the page forward. Okay.
Absolutely.
Those are the Jets picks that are in. there's more hay to be put in the barn here. Okay, they started. There's been no trades yet. They started with 8 picks in this draft. 3 are in the books. We've got 5 more. You've got 1 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, none in the 7th currently. Again, we'll see if any trades potentially changes that part of the equation. Again, after the show is over, I highly recommend you guys check out my video section, the top 10 players the Jets should be considering at some varying points here of day 3. And I'll throw a couple of them at you, Pop, because I'm kind of curious. And plus, feel free to share players that are on your own accord that you sort of like here on the show. So let me throw one out that I like here. Let me do this. This is a guy we were both aware of. This was number 8 on my list. I won't reveal the full top 10. You guys can see that in the YouTube video. But Deion Walker is still available. For Lily and Big D talked about the defensive tackle need. 6'8", a mountain of a man, was considered a first-round pick prior to this past college football season, but some injuries. Pars defect is the medical term. He had that back issue, so a medical flag could be here. But Deion Walker, incredibly talented. Jets need defensive tackle up. He would certainly make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would. It depends how the board falls. I do like somebody ahead of him, but depending on how the board falls, he would be a good pick in the 4th round. Right? There's a high 3rd round talent still out there. Again, shout out to Ricky from New York. Joshua Farmer is the guy that I have at the top of my board at defensive tackle that I would like the Jets to take on their next pick.
Yeah, he was number 2 on my YouTube list last night. I like Joshua Farmer a lot. I can't believe he's still available. But again, the NFL teams have all the answers. We have none of them, or speculation on why certain players are available that are or are not. Joshua Farmer would be very high on my list. By the way, for folks who don't know, I'll highlight the Jets picks that they still have available. They have the 110th overall pick in the 4th round. That's the 8th pick of the 4th round, so they'll be picking very quickly here on day 3, so sort of keep that in mind. In the 5th round, they have the 145th overall pick. That's the 7th pick in the 5th round that they also have, and they also have the 162 pick in the 5th round. That is 26th, near the end of the 5th round there as well. And then finally, in the 6th round, they have a couple of picks. Let me throw those up there. 186, that's the 10th pick of the 6th round. And then finally, they also have the 207th overall pick, which is the 31st pick of the 6th round. Remember, there are also comp picks to be factored in, so it's not just 32 picks per round from that perspective. So yeah, I agree on Joshua Farmer. I'll throw, let me see, because I don't want to spoil the whole list here. Who's another name I want to highlight here? Well, this is another one. Jets haven't addressed safety yet. R.J. Mickens, to me, the son, of course, of Ray Mickens, longtime NFL player and Jet. I think he's a starting caliber safety here on day 3. That intrigues me greatly if we're trying to get value. And obviously, Aaron Glenn knows his former teammate, Ray Mickens, very well. He has to have some inside stuff on R.J. Mickens. That one to me makes a lot of sense. Pop out of Clemson.
Yeah, I like him too. I also like Braden Swinson. Go back, dip into the LSU water again as an edge rusher. He's another player that I'd like to see the Jets, and again, you got to look at your need board, the rankings of the player as they're coming. Right, it comes fast and furious now. How much time they have? 5 minutes? Is that what it is?
5 minutes. That's correct. Yep.
So they got to be ready. But yeah, I would definitely go defensive tackle, and then what's the next biggest need? Is it safety? Is it edge? To get some help there. But defensive tackle, absolutely. The top 4 players available is definitely where I would go with this. It's 110, isn't it? Is that what the pick is?
110. Yep. 8th pick in the 4th round. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's and by the way, we'll just throw this out there. So normally, as you said earlier, when you're this late in the draft, you're drafting backups or you're taking a shot like Stiggers last year.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, except for one position that Hep and I are completely aligned upon. The Jets need to draft a frickin' kicker. The Jets need to draft a kicker, and they're out there, right? It's a fresh crop, right? We've rotated through how many 7 or 8 kickers. For some reason we kept Zerline. I don't know what that's about. He's got some pictures of Woody and at the massage club, hanging out with
Oh
Bob
boy.
Kraft or something.
Oh
But
Jesus.
I don't know what that's all about. But drafting a reliable kicker, because almost nowadays you can sign one of the top kickers in college, and they can kick it from 59 times out of 10. Go get one of them. Zerline's got like the guy from Big Daddy. He's got a 5-year plan. What, not to die? He's got old balls. All right. So get a guy
Wow.
with fresh balls that can kick it 50 yards and let's go.
That's number 6 on the list. I did that purely for Hep, and Hep, you got a shout out in that YouTube video of Andres Borregales, the considered best kicker on the board. He missed, I think it was a kick in a field goal in the opening game of the season, and he didn't miss a kick the rest of the year. So he's considered the best kicker on the board. His brother, of course, played in the National Football League as well. So the kicker blood certainly running through his veins. The thing I was double checking on Swinson, I was like, where's he rank on Mel Kiper's edge list? He's number 1. So Braden Swinson, LSU product, 6'4", 255 pounds, is on there as well. Let me just look at the overall list because obviously I only picked 10 names for the video, so some did not make it. Jalen Royals is another one I'll give a shout
That's
out
exactly
to.
what I was just about to say.
Wide receiver out of Utah State. Now, the only pushback I would have on him is or that some Jet fans may have, his size. He's 6 foot flat, 205 pounds. You look at some of the receivers at the top. Jalen Lane out of Virginia Tech, another smaller guy, 5'10", 191 pounds. Let me pull up just the receivers here so I could go through some of those cats. My favorite is Torrey Horton out of Colorado State. He's 6'3", 196 pounds. A lot of people have sort of forgot about him because he got hurt and only played in 4 or 5 games this past year. But the talent is incredible. He'd be talked about much higher to me, and I like the size, if he didn't get hurt. And he's sort of fallen under the radar. He'd be a really nice pick at wide receiver. So I want to pour one out for the Colorado State product, Torrey Horton. And I did see this one in the comments section. I'm going to butcher the name probably, but Elick Ayo Manor, the 6'2", 206 pound wide receiver out of Stanford. I saw there's a lot of buzz for him in the chat. And then if you want to go for a speedster, obviously you have Isaiah Bond, the wide receiver out of Texas, 5'11", 180 pounds. He's got some of that elite speed that perhaps the Jets could be looking for, kind of in that JMO role. That would make a lot of sense in that department as well. Those are just a couple of guys that are some of the best of players available.
Yeah, don't hate on the short guys there, Frodo. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean, they don't all have to be big and massive, but some slightly, I guess because you have Reynolds and Lazard, maybe the room has enough big bodies, but that's certainly one. Alan, like in the Torrey Horton shout out, thank you very much. Here's another one, and then we can open up the phone lines too, Pop, and super chats, memberships. You guys can keep sending those and appreciate it. Here's another thing I hadn't thought about. Philia, aka FL98. BG, do you think AZ Thomas was picked not for all these reasons we talked about, but instead to push Sauce Gardner? Maybe they're not sure they want to pay him, and this gives you some leverage because everyone wants to say, hey, we're not paying you. And then Sauce looks around the room and goes, well, who else is going to take my spot? If you feel really good about AZ Thomas, that gives you leverage for there and then leverage for others. You got obviously insurance for injury and that for the conversation. I don't think it's that at all. I think AG 1,000% wants to pay Sauce, but I like that we're pushing conversations. We don't just have to have comfortable conversations. I love that we're creatively thinking about what could be the item. I bring up Peter Baelish all the time from Game of Thrones and thinking about the motivations of why people do things. Why would they do this big? I love that we're sort of pushing this and thinking about it. What do you make of this, Pop?
Yeah, I would tell you that you need options. So forget why did they draft him. In their opinion, he was the best cornerback available on their board. And best player available on their board.
Right. Yeah.
They know things more than we do, as I started off this entire discussion by saying. But I wouldn't say nothing is off the table. And so the fact is, you only have so much money in the wallet, right? The salary cap is what it is. Yes. And at some point, there's going to be some big money paid at 2 or 3 positions. And at some point, you're going to have to make some business decisions. And they draft, what do we call him? AZ? So we're calling him?
Yeah, AZ. That's what the Jets call him.
We draft AZ. He shows up and shows out. Then you're like, Sash, you know what? We really don't have $28 million a year to pay you. Thanks. Thanks for your time. By the way, the tackling drill is that way. And the jug machine is over there too. You probably should learn to tackle and to catch the ball.
That's too soon. Too soon. By the way, I said I wanted to play this video. Here's a quick clip. Darren Muji was asked, what is the next 12 hours look like from when he spoke to when day 3 starts? What sort of happens? Here's a quick clip from Darren Muji explaining what's been going on and what continues to go on as we get ready for day 3 officially starting at noon.
What's the approach tomorrow? Day 3's gets a little different than these first 2 days. But what's your philosophy going into tomorrow?
We'll meet after this. We'll strategize, look at the board, reset the board, stack it, and then, again, try to stick to the board.
And find good players. There it is.
Well said there from AG. Darren Muji saying, hey, we're going to reset the board, restack it. And then just as Muji finished up, AG's like, and find good players. That's our other hope for today. Got some good laughs and chuckles out of the media room. Pop, is there any other name or anything else you want to mention before we open up the phone lines here?
No, I'm a big fan of the Mountain, and I wouldn't sleep on drafting another tight end because this team needs playmakers, and they have not taken any step forward in that direction yet. Whether it's wide receiver, whether it's one of these, I'll call them hybrids out there at tight end. There's several hybrids that you're not going to, they haven't had enough biscuits, so they're not going to be out there blocking, but they're going to be in that challenging position. It's somewhere. It's like is it a slot receiver? Is it a tight end? I don't call it whatever you want. We need a guy to go out there and catch the ball and give Wilson. So we could use another tight end. We could use another wide receiver, and because we signed a bunch of we filled the wide receiver room. We got a bunch of projects, like it's Frankenstein's laboratory, right? They got the tubes coming into them. We don't really know what we have in several of the cases. And which Lazard are you going to get? The guy that led the NFL in touchdowns and until his breasts hurt or whatever it was, or chest or breasticle or whatever it was. But we need to get playmakers, and that's really important. And I want the Mountain to come to New Jersey.
There you go. I would say this. I am not opposed to double dipping at defensive tackle. Of course, to double dip, you need to dip initially, and then you could have a chance to double dip. I'd be for that. Tight end is another one I'd be really interested in potentially double dipping. Yeah, just the tip. Just the tip. That would be another great possibility for the New York Jets.
We're only going to cut off the tip.
The big pressing question is, what if the tip is all you have? What do you do there?
That is, what if it's all you have? But really, at the end of this draft, we need to be looking forward to the playoffs.
Which is something that I think all of us have been praying and hoping for that we can eventually.
Playoffs? Are you talking about the playoffs?
And if you make the playoffs, sometimes you can celebrate.
Yo, sending lots of love from Dirty Mike and the boys.
That's always on the table.
That car is never going to get clean, just for the record.
Yep, and I highly advise against use of a Prius. But hey, that is different strokes for different folks. People, we're going to open up the phone lines. If you'd like to call in, we have 800 people in the room. Thanks for all the support, everybody. Awesome. Like the video, hit subscribe. That's a free way to contribute. We're live every single day on this channel at 7:30 in the morning. And again, I have everything set up. So literally, as soon as the pick's in, you have my phone reaction for 60 seconds of whatever it is. And then we immediately jump on the show for a 2, 3, 4, 5-minute video giving you some analytics, some numbers on who the player is, and sort of some thought process on those players. That gets uploaded to YouTube. So you guys are getting hit with all kinds of content, and we'll review the draft after as well. So I'm looking forward to all that coming up on the program. So without further ado, let's play a quick HEP timeout, and the phone lines are open next. Here we go.
Boy Green, daily, Boy Green daily. Talking Jets football, man. Boy Green daily, Boy Green daily. New York Jets Football Club. Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green. J-E-T-S, Jets. Let's go.
Let's go, baby. We are back. The phone lines are open. That is youtube.com/boygreen25. Feel free to call into the program. If you're watching on our Heavy on Jets Facebook page, my employer, we appreciate it. Or Twitter @boygreen25. Appreciate it. Or audio-only listeners. People can listen 12 different ways. Hey, it's 2025, baby. optionality, multiple
They
choice.
can open up their window.
Sure. Yeah, there you go. Maybe a little, a cup and a little line, and hey, what's going on over there? I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities happening here on the program. So, folks, feel free to take full advantage of those and let us know what's going on with all things draft. Let's start off the show with a legend. Hep joins us here on the program. What's up, Hep?
Hey, Paul, I got the information right here on why Sanders is dropping. It appears that no one went to his birthday party.
Ooh, I could
there you
totally
go.
see that. That could totally be it. Could be a
Okay, well,
birthday
That
party.
is legendary.
That is.
Legendary.
I let me just say this. I don't know how many people saw it. I won't play the video. So Shadur does not go night one, right, in the first round. And Shadur is hosting a party at his mansion place, wherever in Texas. And he gives a big speech to the room about, like, guys, this isn't what any of us thought was going to happen. Blee, blah, blue, goes all the way through it. And then he goes, legendary. Like, it was it's like an action figure catchphrase. I was very confused by just the random dropping of that. Maybe I'm going to start doing that just when I enter rooms and things, just scream out a word out to the universe. So obviously, Shadur started here, and then the humble went boop, 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 boop. So we will see where he's at. And again, I hope for Shadur that he uses all of this as motivation and hopefully channels it, or he can let it eat him away and just be frustrated and bitter, like I should have been a first round pick, in a negative way of not allowing that to sort of build him up. So we'll see how the young man responds. It's going to be the story of the draft today, no question.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate the kicker shutout too. He has a real kicker's name too, right?
100%. And apparently kicker bloodlines, like if there were to be a kicker, and I'm glad that he made the list, he was the guy that sort of stood out of the group. But there's a couple of kickers out there.
Thanks, Paul. Peace out.
Thanks, pal. Thank you. Yeah, we got a kicker thing out there. Thank you for the continued birthday messages. I appreciate it. Again, there's no other way I'd rather spend this. My birthday and draft are always right together next to each other, and I just love being around the draft. So that's my favorite part. So continue the birthday messages, text, Facebook messages, pigeon carrier, everything that's coming through. God bless. Yeah, sure. I preferred that, not that one to come through my window. Please no, if that is an option, I'd be okay with that. Let's keep going on the phone lines. Up next is EZ here on the show. What's up, EZ?
Well, first I wanted to show the little plaque.
Oh, look at all the F's. All I need is football, friends, and family. Isn't that beautiful?
That's nice.
Yeah, I saw that and I had to buy it. It was cool.
Oh, nice. Good deal.
No, I agree with your dad. If Sanders is there with the second, fifth round pick, I mean, you have to take him. You have to.
But why not 110? Why wait to the fifth round?
Because we need a freaking wide receiver. But
we'll
here's
figure
the thing.
out.
We need a guy, and this is the thing that I really want more than anything else. I don't give a shit how fast the guy is. I don't. I want a guy who, when Justin Fields is scrambling on 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 5, has a guy, when he throws the ball to this guy, he is going to make the catch for the first down and get his ass on the field and move the sticks. That's what I want. I want like a Wayne Corbett, someone who will catch the freaking thing sure-handed and make sure that we move the sticks. Or at this point, the chip. Because I think they're doing away with the sticks this year or something, or is that just preseason?
Yeah. So no. So chain gang is now a backup option. So just in case the technology doesn't work, but technology is immediately being instituted for this upcoming season. Yes.
Well, all right, good. But that's the kind of receiver I want. I mean, would it be great to have a 6'4", 220-pound gazelle that can run down the field and bust it open? Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, I would love to get like an Xavier, the guy the last year that the Chiefs got.
Xavier Worthy. Yes.
Yeah, Worthy. Just like a fast guy that says, just to run a post or run a fly pattern or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's great. Now, if we can get someone like that, great. But right now, with the type of offense that I believe they want to run, which is a more ground and pound, I think we need just an absolute 100% sure-handed guy that can make that 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5 catch.
Yeah,
because we can matriculate down the field as much as doing big plays. And the other thing is, I think that in this league there are two types of tight ends. There are guys that are great receivers, and guys that are great blockers. Tell me how many like elite level tight ends can both catch and block at an elite level. Probably maybe 3 that can do absolutely both at a high level. But at least this kid Mason Taylor that we got, at least he's pretty good at blocking and pretty good at receiving. So
Yes,
I'll take
he
that.
seems to be. Yeah.
I'll take that because that means he's a 4-down player.
He is. I believe Colorado said he had 800 inline snaps. I'll double check that number. I had it in my story, but yeah, he had plenty of inline reps for sure.
Yeah, and Goff, and another thing is if he is that sure-handed guy, maybe you put him in the slot on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, and he is a mismatch because he's not a small tight end. He's got decent height and decent weight behind him. So I mean, a slot receiver or a linebacker would probably have a lot of trouble covering him on a 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. So I mean, but we need a wide receiver. I would love to get a D lineman, but at this point, I want to see just a wide receiver because I think the defense is going to be much better just with the coaching staff. I really do. I think a lot of these guys really want to play for Aaron Glenn. He was a Jet. He was an All-Star. You know, he was a Pro Bowler. He's the type of a player who played above his level because he was only a 5'9" cornerback, and he played like a guy 6'3". He was great. He was not a ball hawk, but he was right in that upper middle range of getting interceptions. He was a playmaker. So I mean, how do you say no to a guy who knows his position, was an overachiever? I mean, that in itself, that gives you credibility. So I believe that Aaron Glenn and this new coaching staff are really going to bring the best out of what they have.
Well, that's the hope, Easy. I hope so. Thanks for the call, brother. We will see. I think the coaching has to be better by default over what we saw last year. How much better? Well, I think how much juice is out of the orange and how good this coaching staff is will determine, obviously, this upcoming season, because we lost a lot of talent. And I put that in quotes of Devontae Adams and all these big Hassan Reddick, God rest his soul. He's not dead, but, you know, he's dead to Jet fans. And
Did you steal my joke?
It just sort of marinates. It's to keep your legacy around, you know, when you kick the bucket and stuff. So I'm just trying to do my part for you.
What the?
If we can. Sorry there. Anywho, let's get back to the phone lines. You got plenty of callers here. Southern Jet Rich Babies here on the show. What's up, brother?
Oh, good morning. Is your dad in Abu Dhabi?
I am.
Oh, okay. My one of my sons has been there quite a few times. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Excuse me?
I said that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. He does negotiations over there. But a few things, if you wouldn't mind. Since I got your dad on the screen, I want to see the facial expression. Paul, you have the greatest hominisms in Jet Podcast Kingdom. You know, I love them. You know, it brings me back to Father Knows Best. You know, Leave It to Beaver. I want to know if those hominisms were at some point in your life used to overlay some other words you were using at the time, and maybe you were told to come up with something else because they're tremendous. But it's a lost art. I mean, you're really great at it. I just wanted to throw that out first.
Yeah, I've had to learn to use words so I don't use the words I prefer. And so I've had to come up with ways to get the point across without being what I actually want to say. So
it's an art, really.
Paul picks it up, you know.
Yep.
It's
a legacy.
You know, it's
legendary.
It's one of the reasons I love your show. But
thanks, man.
Yeah, we do. I think we're going to get a receiver, an X receiver. You know, we're going to get a wide out receiver through a trade, or free agency.
Sure.
But beyond that, like what your dad was saying, we and Eddie was just saying, but we do need a slot, and you know, and especially for this reason, and then I have another point after that. For this reason, Fields is you know, let's not BS. He can't read progressions. We all know that. Once he gets past the first progression, it's Roadrunner time. Yeah, and so when you have that, what do you need? You need safety valves. Because you're not throwing 80 yards down the field in that case. You're throwing to the slant off the slot. You're throwing to the tight end. You're throwing to the running back, who's going out on a pattern to the right. So we do need a slot, and the other thing as far as getting the cornerback. Yeah, your dad was right. We're if he works out and is as good as they think he works in this scheme, that's exactly what they're going to say to Sauce if he doesn't learn to catch the ball and improve his technique a little bit. They're not going to pay him the most money in the NFL if he doesn't 2 years from now do his thing. So they could be backing up that. I don't know about the guy we paid $36 million moving to safety, but he did play his first 2 years with the Ravens as safety.
Okay,
So,
there you
go. And the last thing is, Paul, I did send you that message yesterday about who would you rather have, Sanders or Jordan Travis as a backup. But I've been thinking about it a little bit.
Yeah.
And here's my take now.
Okay.
With all the baggage that comes with Sanders, and I'll tell you this story, which is true.
Okay.
In the history of Colorado football, every time a touchdown scored, they play the alumni song the band does in the stands. Typical college thing.
Of course, absolutely.
Deion Sanders had that change that when his son threw a touchdown pass, they were not allowed to play the alumni school alma mater, is what I meant to say, not alumni, alma mater.
Yep.
They had to play Shaduer's favorite rap song. And that's a true story.
I love that.
And so
How
my
beautiful.
point now is, you know what? That's a lot. I don't want to deal with all this. Who would I rather have as my backup quarterback other than Jordan Travis? Kyle McCord.
Oh, there you go. Your Syracuse love. But Southern Jet Rich, let me ask you this, because this is perhaps a more pressing question, okay?
Yeah.
There
you go. That's a good $100 word.
There you go. Does Kyle McCord have his jersey retired at Syracuse? Does Jordan Travis have his jersey retired at Syracuse? Oh, Shadur Sanders
That's how pathetic.
his jersey retired, baby.
No.
That's a legendary.
That's how pathetic it is at Colorado.
But
they've already retired him.
But wait a minute. Would Tom Brady have had his number retired at Michigan if he hadn't gotten a chance to get in and prove what he did when we knocked the guy out? What was it, Mo Lewis, right?
Yeah, right. Unfortunately, that poor bastard.
All I'm saying is McCord's the most Brady-esque of the quarterbacks that are out. I'm not saying he's Brady.
No, I got
but
you.
He's got the intangibles Brady had. And I beg everybody on this chat to watch John Gruden's quarterback breakdown of McCord. He's basically telling you he's the next Brady.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Well, Southern Jet, thanks for the call, brother. And yes, for those who haven't seen it, it's in the old days. Gruden did this on ESPN. It was like QB Grinders. In this new world, it's QB Camp, I believe is what the show's called. I highly recommend you guys watching it for the Kyle McCord episode, for sure. And so, yes, I'll give you an opportunity. I think I know what you're going to say, Pop. But Southern Jet tweeted at me, at BoyGreen25. He said, who would I rather have as the third string guy? Because right now it's Jordan Travis. Or would you rather have Shadur Sanders as he's continued to fall? And, Southern Jet added some more context now or more thoughts about that take. So we'll throw it over to you, Pop. Who would you rather have, Jordan Travis or Shadur Sanders?
Yeah. So the problem, there's a couple of problems here, right? We don't know what, where, how, which way but loose, every which way but loose, get an orangutan, that where Jordan Travis is. But here's what you do know.
All right.
Right. It's been a tumultuous, unfortunate couple of years for Jordan Travis.
It sure has,
but as far as I am aware, take his agent out of this, take him behind the barn and beat him with a baseball bat, but take his agent out of it. You haven't heard a peep from him, right? You haven't heard a peep from him.
Not directly from him. No.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And is that going to be the case? And is Shadur, if I can call him that, I'll just call him Legendary. If Legendary is he going to be okay bebopping on and off the practice squad? Because that's what's going to happen.
No way.
Right. And do you want the third quarterback many times is an emergency quarterback, right? Or he's on the practice squad, depending on what you need for the game. You always have an emergency quarterback. Could be, the wide receiver that used to play quarterback. Sometimes he'll be on the practice squad. Do you want the practice squad quarterback yipping to the media? No, I do not. No, I don't.
So Southern Jet Rich added that he's like, with all the extra baggage from Shaduer Sanders, maybe my opinion changed. Because when he initially tweeted that to me, I said Shaduer, unquestioned. And then Southern Jet said that's kind of where I was leaning. And then his opinion obviously changed, as you just heard. And he said, Shaduer comes with a lot of baggage. What we don't talk about is Jordan Travis comes with a lot of baggage. All his medical baggage. This guy hasn't practiced in the NFL. We're talking about practice here.
Okay? Well, that's how I started. That's how I started. Like, we don't know.
No.
No, I know.
I'm just saying this it isn't just a direct phone call between us that we have 800 plus people in the room. I'm just addressing it on a greater point. I'm not saying you ignored it. I'm just saying that this guy has so much medical baggage. I like the person. This injury came from college, and apparently things did not go very well in the rehab process. So there's some disagreements between his agent and how the Jets and that process work. We haven't even seen him practice yet. So when I'm offered the possibility to get a guy who is graded as a first-round pick in Shaduer Sanders and fresh and at a fourth-round value at this current point, we'll see how much later it is. If he doesn't get drafted in the fourth round, he goes fifth, sixth, seventh, who knows? Like, to me, I would 100% take Shaduer Sanders QB3. Now, here's the thing. You talk about the mics and stuff, and maybe this will be different. Normally, your QB3 does not have a mic. He doesn't have regular press conference availability, and the only availability that QB3 would have is people who mosey over to his locker and ask him things if he is there when media are present. I would imagine that wouldn't be happening for QB3. That we would be, I'm sure media would be looking for his commentary if he's willing to share it, because people are looking for clicks nowadays. I think that would be another piece of the puzzle. But to reiterate, I would 100% take him as a potential QB3. And by the way, I like Kyle McCord too, who somehow is still available, and so is Will Howard for that matter.
Yeah. So what's really interesting is you wouldn't throw, even if you drafted any of those three you just talked about. The fact is, you don't have to make a business decision until you see the practice, right? Right.
Yes. 100%.
And so imagine this. Imagine Jordan Travis comes back healthy, right? And he beats out Shaduer.
And
Shaduer ends up where most fifth round draft picks end up, right? With the what's that guy that comes up and
the Turk is
the Turk.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm legendary. Come with me, buddy.
I would just say that. Yes. Just to finish off your point. Yes. Jordan, if the Jets, here's a great example, right? The Giants, right? So they got Russell Wilson, they got Jameis Winston, they got Jackson Dart, they got Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito, last time I checked, has not been cut over this weekend. And why would he be? They have a 90-man roster. They have a million spots. They're not going to get rid of our boy Tommy Cutlets, Tommy DeVito, until they have to, which, by the way, is going to probably be in training camp, probably, because you want quarterback arms.
Second week.
Yeah, second week probably. And again, I don't think the cuts still exist. I'll have to double check the rules. I'm pretty sure we still have final cut where it's a mass exodus from 90 to 53.
That's right.
The point is that to your point, we're gonna, if Jordan Travis is healthy, we're gonna see him. OTAs are coming up in May. Mandatory training. OTAs, mandatory minicamp, and training camp, all are going to happen. We're going to get the full evaluation of Jordan Travis, for better or for worse. So we're going to understand who and what and where and whatever he is, along with whatever rookie you add in. I 100% agree. Let's throw another guy in. You push him into the octagon. We think we know it's going to happen, but that's why we play football. That's why the games get played on Sunday. Let's see. Maybe, to your point, Jordan Travis is fully healthy. We're like, holy friggin' crap. Look at this first world problem we have. Are we trading one of these guys? What's happening with that evaluation? That's totally within the realm of possibility. There's no question. All
Absolutely.
Right. Yes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I know you have limited time here, Pop. So I was just going to squeeze in another call here. I'll answer all your other calls, guys. I will stay on. So all these calls that are here, I will go through them all. Let's go up next here to Indy Jets here on the program.
If Sanders goes UDFA, I'm still not picking up the phone and calling him.
Oh, come on, man. Come on.
Look. Here's why.
Who's at
Woody
the door?
Johnson.
Legendary.
Woody Johnson probably has his own parking spot at the stadium, and Shaduer Sanders is such an entitled kid that he's going to park his Bugatti in Woody Johnson's spot and feels like he deserves it, because that's exactly what he did at Colorado. And he threw his offensive line. I mean, we literally got rid of Rodgers for partly because he wouldn't take ownership. Now, it's okay to have this diva attitude if you're a cornerback or if you're a wide receiver. That's what they do. You're out on an island. You're not really the leaders of the team. You can't have this entitlement as a quarterback. In even a quarterback like Peyton Manning or even when Andrew Luck came in, they were still as great as they were. They came in, were humbled, and said, "I've got a lot to learn." This guy literally compared himself to Johnny Manziel. He compared that was out of his mouth. If you're going to compare yourself to a quarterback, Johnny Manziel is not the guy.
I concur with that. That would not be the first name I would mention if someone asked me that question. Yeah, no.
Exactly. So why would it, and being in the New York market, I mean, Johnny Manziel, had an epic meltdown in Cleveland in a small market. If Johnny Manziel was a New York Jet or a New York Giant, can you imagine the blow up that would be? And if you're going to compare, if this guy is comparing himself to a Johnny Manziel in a New York market, I mean, people already laugh at the Jets anyway. What is this guy going to do? No, I wouldn't. And he's not a generational talent.
I would agree with that. I hope no one said that. Yeah,
if you're not bringing this high end generational talent like an Andrew Luck, those kind of guys that come out of college, and now you've got, it's not an injury baggage like Jordan Travis has. You've got Deion's baggage. You've got this entitlement to say, I already know everything. You can't teach me anything. And can you? And now he's going to be on the third string. That is just inviting a cancer into any team. And this is why 32 GMs, 32 coaches sit there and go, you know what? I don't want that. We don't want. I mean, Cleveland desperately needs a quarterback.
They do.
And they passed on him.
And come on, man. I like Dylan Gabriel, but I almost spit out my trick of the habit. I'm like, what? I had no camera on. I had no camera on. Come on,
Cleveland's passed on him. Cleveland's passed on him, what, 5 times now or 4 times?
2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think it's 5 times now. Yeah.
Okay. What does that tell you? You got a team that's a small market team that desperately needs a quarterback to go, no, not for me.
But if so you mentioned that even as a priority free agent, which again, we've already gotten this far. Who knows if he goes drafted based on whatever happens? We'll see. But the fact is, let's just say he goes undrafted, and you said that you wouldn't even pick up the phone for him. If you bring him in and he is all the things that you say is, you cut his ass. Okay, he's guy number 90, the undrafted free agent. If the other stuff didn't humble him, that sure as hell will. If he has any of that crap, that to me is why the low risk versus high reward. And I'd see it whether it's priority free agent or 4th round pick. If fourth round picks all the time don't make the team. Does anyone? Here's a trivia. Does anyone remember Jalen Saunders? Someone remember Jalen Saunders, Oklahoma wide receiver? Yeah, he was a 4th round pick by the Jets. Didn't make it his initial season, being a 4th round pick for the Jets. Another one, Shaq Evans. CFL.
These guys none of those guys have Deion Sanders as a dad. So you can't. You're not even comparing apples and oranges. Even if Shaduer comes in as the 90th player. Yeah. You get the entire circus with you. And if you cut him, now you've got Deion and his whole entourage trashing.
AG, I think, could handle it. I trust AG to handle. He just handled the Aaron Rodgers things like a pro. If
he just said get out. And now and look how even with Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers circus was not near as big as the Sanders circus. And he just said no, Sanders' circus is far worse than Aaron. I mean, can you imagine? Aaron Rodgers never threw his college players under the bus. I mean, he's not even a pro yet. and he's already blaming people. Okay, you know that we kind of trashed Rodgers a little bit for the few times that he did do it when he threw like Mike Williams under the bus. You know, he threw Aaron Glenn under the bus. This guy's a kid, and he's already doing it. Wait till he gets into the NFL and does this. You know what's going to end up happening is, and I'm not going to compare. I'm not comparing quarterbacks, but the situation. He's going to run his mouth to somebody. And we're going to have a Geno Smith 2.0. Yeah, and then the Jets are going to look horrible because look what happened to Shaduer and poor Shaduer. No, there's going to be some number 89 linebacker that's trying to make the team and it's not going to work out well. There's no upside for Shaduer to be in New York because he's not that great of a talent.
The difference is Shaduer is not going to need some other teammate to loan him money for airline tickets.
That's not my point. That's why I said I didn't really want to compare Geno for the reasons, but the same thing. Somebody's gonna take him the wrong way. His arrogance. And he's going to step up and somebody think, look, you know who my dad is. You don't get to talk to me like that. And they're going to be like, I don't really care. And his arrogance is going to, you can't come into the NFL with that kind of, you can have confidence.
Yes.
You know, but this confidence is beyond arrogance. And once I saw that clip where he literally compared himself to Johnny Manziel, out of every quarterback in the NFL that's ever played, that would not be the guy. So if he thinks he's a Johnny Manziel, what the hell are we think he's going to be?
I would say two things here real quick. Number one, I think that's an astute point. For the first time, really, in Shaduer's life, he is not going to have Deion Sanders as his coach. Not in this private high school where he had it, not in college. So he's going to be separate. Right. His father is a college football coach. He's going to be pretty busy. I'm not saying he won't be able to call him and stuff, but there's obviously going to be a line of separation. How does Shaduer handle that, number one? And number two, Indy, as we're getting you out of here, predict it. Does Shaduer Sanders hear his name called today?
Yes, but not in the fourth round. I think I think he's going to continue to fall. I think he may end up going to, Los Angeles. He may go out to the Rams, someplace where he can sit, because behind a veteran quarterback, behind a veteran coach. I don't think a rookie coach is a good idea for him. I don't think having any kind of quarterback competition. I think he needs to go to a place where he's not going. The only chance he has, I think, is where he can go and not be any kind of spotlight. We know going in that he's not going to. If he goes to the Rams, he's not going to start this year. And unless there's an absolute major injuries, but he has no chance of it. And and he's got a veteran coach out there who has enough clout in the NFL to say, look, this is my decision. Aaron Glenn, you can't do that to a rookie coach. You can't do that in a big market, New York, and have all these things. And it's just a setup for failure for the team, for the player. I wish nothing but the best for the kid, but I think that the kid needs to just come down, get away from dad a little bit. And he's going to have to experience what you just brought it up. He's never played a game in his life without his dad on the sidelines.
How does he handle that? We'll have to see, Indy. Appreciate the call. I will just say this, unbiased, the Rams are a great fit. It makes a lot of sense. Matthew Stafford, he would be buried on the depth chart. Great offensive coaching around him. That would be a wonderful fit for Shaduer if he ended up going in that direction. Pop, I want to thank you for being on the show today. I'm going to take a few more calls here to wrap up the show, but I just want to say thank you, Pop.
Yeah, absolutely. Two quick things, quick hitters. Okay. I would like to prognosticate in the sixth round with 186 pick.
Oh, okay.
The New York Jets take. I'm going to say his name wrong because I always do. Oronde Gadsden, yes. Syracuse.
Okay, Oronde Gadsden the second. Okay, all right. And you said in the sixth round? Oh, damn. Okay,
sixth round. Yeah, he's actually not projected to go until the seventh round.
Yikes.
Yeah, and his rating is way low, so take advantage of that for the New York Jets. Definitely,
Okay.
I would take him. He's a weapon, and he's that in between guy.
Right.
The other thing I got a trivia question for you as I'd like to wrap up the discussion on
Let me
Shaduer
get the
Sanders.
trivia music. 1 second. I got trivia music ready. Here we go. I don't get to use it often, so 1 second. Okay, let's turn that down a little bit more. Okay. Trivia. Okay. Here we go. Okay, I'm ready.
How many classes did Shaduer Sanders attend in person at Jackson State?
Oh, Jesus.
You guessed it. 0.
What? How is that even possible? How does that even cut the music?
He opted out. He didn't even live in the frickin' state except during football season. Check it out.
So what does that mean?
It means he's I'm not going to say what it means. You can all draw your own conclusions.
Wow. Okay. All right. Interesting. Pop?
Legendary. And by the way, it was much more than him saying that at the end of the press conference. There's some sponsorship thing he had for that party. That legendary thing was all over that party that they had.
Yes.
And they literally had every draft hat for every NFL team in a special case.
I saw that.
At the draft. They didn't have to pull out any of them. But it is odd that all throughout this party planner, Deion Sanders has a party planner on his payroll.
Sure. Yeah.
And everywhere you said legend, it was all around. They had a birthday cake, a cake.
Very nice. Yeah.
Legendary. And so this entire draft has been legendary.
Well, before we sign you off, Pop, it is my birthday, and I've enjoyed all the birthday wishes and super chats and memberships. It's been a lot of fun, and continue to send them. They're great. You know, traditionally, before you blow out the cake, you close your eyes and you make a wish. And you blow out the candle. Normally, if you say it, it doesn't happen. But I'm going to bring it public. There are 2 wishes that I have. They both can't happen, but I just want one of them to happen, and I don't care which one. The New York Jets to select Shaduer Sanders, because that would be amazing, and I think Shaduer has a massive chip on his shoulder. Or for your Dallas Cowboys to select Shaduer Sanders. If one of those 2 things happen, it's the greatest thing of all time. So we pray to the gods. Wouldn't that be beautiful that one of those 2 things occurred today?
You know what's great is that you are approximately 9,000 miles away, so I cannot choke you out at this time.
So be ready for that, Pop. Today, hopefully, we get one of those 2 bits of information. We'll see what happens. Pop, thank you so much for hopping on for your Hop On Pop Saturday, and enjoy the rest of the 2025 NFL Draft. I'm sure we'll be texting throughout it. Pop.
Have a great day, Coffee Club.
All right, there you go. Pop joining us here on the program. Good Lord have mercy. Wow. And we got a million more calls. We'll get to all of you here on the show. Again, we got 900 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe, baby. Appreciate you. I want to make sure we didn't miss any more super chats. I don't believe so, but if I did, please let me know. Sorry, I was off the comment section for a hot second there, so please send those through. All right, a lot of people waiting here on the show. Let's go, Ted, baby. NY Jets FL. Toot toot. What's going on, Ted?
Oh, Paul, I was hoping on.
Ted, let's try one more time. You may want to come back in. We don't have your audio there. It's sort of jumpy. So I'd love to get back to you. You may want to try to skip out and come back in. I'll try to give you another opportunity there. Snowball here on the show. What's up, Snowball?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to start off by saying happy birthday.
Thanks, pal.
Special plans?
Draft is just I'm just going to be watching pillar to post. I know some people just watch the draft sort of tangentially. They're doing stuff in the house or stuff. I will be plugged in front of, well, this studio. I guess I'll be right here covering the entire draft until 7 or 8 o'clock tonight. And then the priority free agents, I got to cover all those for the Jets. So, and then, so that's the day. Draft, baby. Yes.
I know it's not nice to shame somebody on their birthday, but shame on you for wanting Shaduer Sanders.
Yes, of course.
How does one choose somebody who is projected to be so high in the draft and then fall so far? I'm going to say it now. He's not being drafted. He's not drafted.
Wow. Okay.
No one is selecting Shaduer Sanders. Who wants to be that team? In public. Maybe UDFA, behind the scenes, possibly.
Well, that would still be like, of course,
Yeah,
everyone's going to cover it. But no, I get your point, though. I get your point.
But publicly to have that happen, I don't want to be that team.
Okay.
But you do. That's fine.
Yeah.
And as Jet fans, quick point. As Jet fans, I think we deal in the absolutes too much.
Yes.
When we look at draft players, we say this guy's great and this guy sucks. And
right, there's no in between. Right.
There's no in between. And what we've been lacking so much in the recent history of the Jets and further on is player development. We've had it on defense, but maybe this new regime actually knows how to develop players.
Please, right? We've had Jamian Sherwoods, Quincy Williams, JFMs, Bryce Huffs, Tony Adams. I mean, the list is unbelievable. And again, massive respect. That is so cool that we've had all these different entry points, and there's more beyond that, what I'm saying, but just off the top of the dome. But offense, it's been freaking bupkis. So, yeah, please.
So
that'd be
I'm praying for player development this year. That way, all these draft picks that everyone's so unsure about, maybe they turn out to be, halfway decent players who can actually be productive instead of just bust right away. All right. That's it. Happy birthday. Have fun.
Plugs.
Enjoy the draft.
Snowball, please. Come on, baby. Take advantage.
We are Jets Worldwide at Jets Worldwide. One word on YouTube. Check us out. We're on every Friday night at 7:30 p.m. And sometimes this guy's on. Sometimes we have other people on. Sometimes we have call-ins. Sometimes we play games. Sometimes we do everything. We're a variety show. So come check us out. If you're on today, go to the channel after Paul's show, not during Paul's show because that's illegal. So after the show, go to @Jets Worldwide and hit the subscribe button because we would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Happy birthday again. Take care. Enjoy the draft.
Will do. Thanks, brother. Hey, I'll say this. The Ken Jeong, I will allow it. Open up a new tab. Subscribe right now to Jets Worldwide, baby. YouTube.com. Jets Worldwide, all one word. Wide. Jets Worldwide. Make sure you guys support our fellow New York Jets content creators, baby. We have 900 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe. That is the free way to contribute to today's program. Again, day 3 of the NFL draft starts at noon, so it's coming up rapidly here on the show. Let's finish off with a couple more callers here. We've got MJ here on the show. What's up, MJ?
Hey, good morning, Paul. Hey,
good
just
morning,
a few things.
Sure.
A few things with Shaduer Sanders. He actually, in the very beginning, was thinking he was going to be in the top 5, drafted in the top 5.
Of course, right.
However, how wrong was that? And he actually was, and he was documented as basically telling teams that he's not a good fit for them.
Right.
So, I mean, can you believe? And I'm telling you, the NFL is a very close-knit community, and this stuff spreads like wildfire. I would be shocked if he gets drafted. I mean, especially if you draft him. And now the only thing is and not just the fact that, his play, but now you've got Deion Sanders, who now has a public forum every frickin' Saturday, before and after games, can say whatever the hell he wants. It's almost like him going on Pat McAfee. I mean, this guy can just rip a team. He can rip a coach. Coaches and teams don't want that. They do not want that. There might be. I'm not saying that's the reason that they got rid of Rodgers, but it could be one of the reasons. Is that
definitely? I'm sure it's one of the reasons.
And, I mean, why would they want to go through that? Same thing with teams. Why would they want to do that?
And I would say real quick to your point, to address that first point, I think you could be onto it. That Shaduer, right, there has been multiple anonymous people that have come out and said that Shaduer Sanders, some of his meetings were lackadaisical. And some have speculated, did he tank those interviews because he's like, I don't want to go there. And now he got the slice of humble pie of like, oh, you don't want to go to this team, this team? What about no team? And obviously, I think even if he gets selected today, obviously a massive fall from grace, and financially he doesn't have to worry about it because obviously he has his dad. But I think he's gotten a hefty serving of humble pie. We'll see how much more humble pie is set to be served today. But no, that could totally be true. And he's getting a reality slap in the face. That could totally be possible.
I mean, because his talent, I'm not saying he's the best quarterback, but there's no way that he should be dropping. There are other factors. It's not just his talent or his lack of arm strength. because he has some real. People have said he's the number one processor of all the quarterbacks. This guy processes and sees the field better than any of the quarterbacks.
And that he can play
also
immediately, like that he doesn't have to sit. He will sit now based on his trajectory outside of something catastrophic. But that's another thing people say, which again, yeah, it's a little crazy.
He played in a pro offense. He played
Correct,
with
sure.
with Pat Schumer.
Pat Schumer, that's correct, right?
Who was was linked to really. So he understands the
Long-time
concepts. He's a
NFLer.
bright guy.
Yep.
But the second thing, Mason Taylor. I live in Dallas, and there's a scout that goes on the radio, a former scout who's with the Dallas Cowboys, and and this guy went to LSU, and he followed all the LSU games, and he said that this guy was one of the most clutch receivers. This guy's going to be so clutch for the Jets. Great pick. This guy is underrated. I mean, think of the pedigree. Jason Taylor's son, and how great of a player he was. This guy's going to be really good, guys. So y'all got a good one. The third thing is, I don't know if you've heard, but in Dallas, there's all kinds of reports about Breece Hall being traded to the Cowboys.
I haven't heard that. Oh, baby.
Yes.
Okay.
Look it up. Rossini has something similar. Of course, I don't know if you can really trust Johnny Rossini, but with some of the shit that she's done with the Jets.
Okay.
But I'm telling you guys, I've heard it from like about 7 different Cowboy content creators out here locally that they're really looking, and that's possibly one of the reasons. The Cowboys have not done anything for receiver or running back because they think they have this ace in the hole.
Oh, they talk about those trades they've been working on. Interesting, right?
Don't know where it's coming from, man, but where there's smoke, there's fire. And I don't mean to alert all the hornets' nests of the chat people, rip a bee or whatever, but it's more than a coincidence because many people here are talking about it. So
I love it, MJ. Thanks for the call, brother. Appreciate you. So I heard Jerry Jones say, "Hey, we're working on some substantive, substantial trades." Basically, is what he said. Here's my problem. We're on day 3 of the draft. Let me make sure I get my numbers right. We're on pick. Is this my other tab? No, it's this tab. 1 second. We are on pick. I know the Jets have 110. Let me just make sure. What's the first pick of the 4th round here? That is 103. We're at 103 right now, right? And the Cowboys obviously don't have 103. So whatever they're giving me, which I would assume would be draft compensation, is outside the top 100. So that's questionable. And then, or it's future capital, and that doesn't help your team now. So could the Cowboys be interested in Breece? Sure, that makes sense. Why wouldn't they be? Last year was deal. They haven't really done anything running back, but what are you giving me? I'm not just giving Breece Hall away. The only conversation we had, healthy conversation about the potential of Breece Hall trade, and the Jets haven't drafted a running back either. So who's replacing Breece? I like Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis as much as the next guy, but who's stepping in? We're outside the top 100 now. Are they just taking some rando here and say, "Up, there you go"? I don't think so. I think the way, and Connor Hughes described this of SNY, the way the Jets give up Breece Hall is if they're wowed by an offer. Are the Cowboys going to wow them with an offer? I guess we'll see, and we'll react accordingly if that happens. But interesting to hear, and cool on the scout on the Mason Taylor stuff. Again, the one thing I say about players that are legacy players, Rondé Gadsden, we mentioned, his father played in the league, Jason Taylor, Mason Taylor, right? Do you have that connection? Is that you are around an NFL pro your entire life. You've been preparing for the NFL before you even knew you were preparing for the NFL. So these players are wired a little bit differently, which I tend to like. Back to the phone lines. I think we got him back. Ted, NY Jets FL, take 2.
Sorry, Paul. Happy birthday,
we got
by
you,
the way.
loud and clear. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, we could take a Patrick Surtain, because his dad was good too. I mean, that's his dad was really good too.
Yeah.
But hey, Paul, I wanted to ask your dad a theoretical question because he hires and fires a lot of people.
He is here. I don't know if he. Let me see if I can bring him up. Pocky, give me a thumbs up. Are you good to come on the show? Are you good to come? Yes. Okay. So I'm bringing up Pop. You can ask him that question. So Pop,
nice.
you're on mute,
Paul.
Pop. 1 second. He's trying to do something. All right. 1 second.
You got it. You got it.
Yeah, but he can hear you, so go ahead.
All right. Hey, Paul, Paul Senior. So I'm sure you have, well, maybe you do have Harvard PhDs or Stanford on your payroll for bidding purposes. You know, you have to have people with chops with resumes for your business, or whatever business you own or work for. But basically, my question to you is, I'm sure your whole employee roster is not filled with them. So what do you look for in terms of building a team, a culture? Where do you get these guys from? Because obviously in the NFL, you don't always pick, John Ross with his 4.2 speed and expect him to be great. You got to have other intangibles that you have to consider. So that's my overall general question.
Okay, let me just switch off the other pop here. Dad, yeah, go ahead. I think we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. So about you're a person, for those who don't know, that makes big boy decisions of hirings and firings in your career. So Ted was picking your brain about it. I don't know if you heard full of
Yeah.
Ted's question.
Yeah, I'm a big, and you can go look them up, and that's the funniest part, right? I'm a big behavioral question person on interviews, and there's like probably 3 questions that I don't have to ask any more questions than that, frankly. And it's tell me about a time where your plan failed, and what you did about it, and what you're going to do the next time. And so there's one example, and I like those. Give me an experience of where you had to, do something that you'd never done before that you succeeded at. So those are 2 of my favorite questions, and just hear how, or how did you collaborate to succeed on a project. So those are kind of questions, and then they can go anywhere based on how they respond.
Do you look for people in with other certain traits? Because I'm sure you're not looking for the smartest people every time you hire somebody, because there's other things that they have to carry in an organization.
Yeah, it really, it's been a mixed, right? When I was interacting with the IBEW and the union, you get told who you're going to interview, and then you can pick from that batch based on the contracts that we had in place. But I would tell you that it's a mixed bag of intelligence, the flexibility, and then the ability to engage with a larger team to collaborate. Right. So intelligence is a piece of it, but it all comes out during the interview, how they respond to the questions.
Yeah, that's why, I think relating to an NFL team, it's sort of in a way similar. I mean, you don't always have to be the most physically gifted player when you can run through a wall, willing to work. I mean, Aaron Glenn said that about the corner from Florida State. He said he's got this. He mentioned a double-fisted punch, right?
Yeah.
That a lot of players don't have, right? He sees things that he can work with and bring him to another level. He's got the core pieces of his talent, and with the right coaching, and that guy can probably coach the hell out of him up to whatever level he thinks he can get to. That's it. I mean, he's building a culture, building a players that he can trust. That's the thing. When you run a business, if you don't have a guy that you can, go to war with, it's not going to work. It's not.
I agree with you. And that's the reason why, if I'm Aaron Glenn and so maybe I'm Mike Tomlin, for example, and that's a bad example, but I mean a long tenured coach was really the point of what I was trying to say, right? So Aaron Glenn's trying to build something here, and so so they're out there. Those they've interviewed people, and just briefly on Shaduer, but they were asking him targeted questions on his weakness and what he had done about it. And they said it was excuses. It was this, that, or the other. And they were asking legitimate questions to see, you've had trouble with your footwork. What are you doing about it? For example, you had a weakness. What are you doing about it? And his inability to answer the questions, and in the chat they were talking about how he's throwing his offensive line under the bus, as opposed to the fact that you don't get 15 seconds in the pocket as a quarterback. That's that's a piece of it. It was the line was crap, and he holds the ball for too long. Is also it. It was probably a mixed bag of the reason that he was the most sacked quarterback, I think, in NCAA. I think he was sacked 40, 45 times last year. It was an immense amount. And they asked him questions about that. And I think he assumed that who I am, I'm going to be the number one pick, as opposed to that was a real job interview, my friend. And your answers are going to have consequence. That's why that Wonderlic test, I don't know how you did on that either. Those things matter.
Right. Paul, I think you're trolling a little with the Shaduer, because everything Aaron Glenn is for, he would never take a player like Shaduer. He would get the worst glances. If we took Shaduer, he would look like a fool. But I like the way you talk to people about it with a straight face. So happy, Paul. Have a great birthday. Quite honestly, go enjoy yourself. Enjoy the draft. I hope you get have a wonderful day. Let's put it that way. Thanks, Paul Senior. Have a safe trip back.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Ted, thank you so much, man. That was awesome. Pop, thanks for popping back on. We'll put you back down there to enjoy, but like a genie. Actually, never mind. I won't say what I was going to say. That'd be weird. Anywho, let's go back to the phone lines. We got 900 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe for Lily and Big D's on the show. What's up, Fleur Lily? You're on some level of mute. You're not mute on my side, but I can't hear you. I don't know if you got a... Hello, Fleur Lily? Okay, we'll come back to you. I don't know what's happening there, so apologies there. That's okay. Let's keep the phone line train rolling. Toot toot here on the program. Chef Kevin Gilbert's on the show. What's up, Chef?
BG, happy birthday, man. How's everything?
Thanks, brother, and thank you so much for the super chat. That was very nice. Everything's awesome, man. I'm blessed.
There we go, man. I'm feeling good, man. Your shows have been great, man. Keep it up. Love the content. Love how you're able to just keep pushing stuff out. Love your shorts as well on the YouTube. Quick, simple. Get your little takes, your reactions. Love all that stuff. Just keep doing
Thanks,
you,
brother.
man. Yeah, highly appreciated. Shout out to the coffee club members, man. All number one Austrian Jet fan. We thinking about you.
Yes.
Hope all is well.
Amen. Yeah.
So far, man, I'm happy with the picks, man.
Good.
We're making sure that our line is good, and the only thing that I really think needs to be addressed is like weapons at this point. D tackle, like I would have went D tackle in the second, but
sure.
I think Taylor will be a good tight end for us because a little bit later on, if we would have passed on him, the quality starting tight ends, it gets a little bit bare. So
Yeah.
I like that. It's just at this point, we got the cornerback. I think that was a good option at the time too. Good value. I think it was a nice value pick. The thing is, it's like Stiggers. All right, I saw him at the stadium for the Jets draft party, and yeah, he's a cool dude, man. That's Nate's boy, man. I had to plug Nate to him or whatever. He's like, yeah, Nate's my man. Basically, I asked him, I'm like, where do you see yourself? You see yourself in a nickel? You see yourself outside, like replacing Reed? He was like, basically whatever Glenn wants me to do. So, I like that attitude, obviously, in public. There's people with their cell phones out and everything like that. So, I understand the answer. But
Right.
he's somebody that I think could, take a big step this year.
I hope so.
Yeah, we all hope so. But I feel like with the cornerback that we drafted, that's going to add some a certain level of competition to the room
No
to kind
doubt.
of help up another depth piece at the cornerback position, man. It's also like too with Michael Carter, we still going to keep him in the slot. You're going to move him outside. Like for myself, I'd rather just keep him in the slot position, just knowing how well he moves and how he travels well with the slot receivers and sometimes tight ends when he's matched up. Like it's a tough position, man. One of the toughest in the NFL, just because of how fast these receivers are and how they can go any direction. And at a snap, man, you got to move with them and be able to track the ball down, tackling like slots tackle a lot as well. So it's a crucial position. So I would keep him there. It's just like focusing on what we're gonna do, at across from Sauce. So at this point, I'm still nervous about our run defense. All right,
Oh yeah.
tackle is like so important, so crucial. Just to apply some pressure so the quarterback has less time to be able to make these decisions with less time. That's better for our secondary. So for me, it's important that we immediately address defensive tackle. Now for Sanders, man, like this is something. This is something that
This is
I didn't
crazy.
predict. And
No.
we've had our talks or whatever. I'm a
Mhm.
Cam Ward guy. Like
Yeah.
he was the clear cut. We've all said, all right, Cam's a better quarterback by far. I didn't think it was going to get to this point, man. Snowball's my guy, but I don't feel like he's going to go undrafted. It's just like, at what point, which team is going to shake through and be like, all right, now we'll get him. I
Yeah.
didn't really see too much like the character flaws stuff. I do, the cameras, the jewelry.
Sure.
It's like reminiscing of his pops esque kind of
Mhm.
whatever, but when you look at the film, when you see him on the field, like he's a good football player, man. Like
Yeah.
seeing this stuff, how far he's dropping back is definitely surprising. But I
Mhm.
think if you're like looking at the whole picture, the whole package, it's like, all right, well, his dad's a college coach. I don't think he's gonna like be around like that. What people are
I
thinking, like maybe
agree.
like a LeVar Ball kind of like he's
Right,
not gonna be
definitely
around
not.
like that. He got
Right,
he
like
got his
LeVar
own
Ball's
thing.
only thing was the big baller brand and that bullshit where he was hanging around. Dion's not even just a college football coach at like Jackson State
Mm-hmm.
Institute of Technology. It's freaking Colorado. That's a massive
Word,
undertaking of stuff
word.
he's going to be busy with.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
So like for we got Jordan Travis, and in college he was great and everything.
Mhm.
It's just now it's like today when we're
Yeah.
talking about today, where is he? This isn't a question for you. It's just
Right. Yeah.
talking like, is he
Sure.
ready today? And if not, then it's like, all right, well, who's at number three? Tyrod, he's gone at the end of the season.
Of course.
So then it's like, hey, we know he did what he was supposed to do, coming here being a backup. We didn't really need to utilize him, even though there was times last year when we probably should have put him in or whatever. But at this point, man, it's like if we get Sanders, I'm just
Mhm.
saying, I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
saying
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
100% for it, but
Sure.
if he does go maybe to the fifth round, man, like I'm cool. I'm cool with that. Just getting him, and then him and Travis could battle it out, and then
Right.
whoever wins, next season, they could be the number two, number three, whatever, depending on how Fields goes. You just create some competition in the room, which isn't a bad thing, man. But if you
Definitely not.
have Travis not on like a really high level, then it's
Mhm.
like, all right, well, what are we still doing at quarterback? Moving coming into the season, it was like, all right, let's figure out the quarterback situation. We already know we don't want Rodgers anymore. Pivot to Fields. Fields wants to come here, cool. And then it's like long term because we only have Fields for another year. So it's like, are we going to work on extension? You can't even
Mhm.
talk about any stuff until we see the progress on the field and we see some wins. Once we get that established, then it's like, all right, cool. But at this point, it's like, how are we going to feel with the quarterback room and seeing Sanders slip? Dude, man, I didn't. There was no way in hell, man. If you asked me last week, I would have bet everything I had that he would get drafted in the first round, man.
Uh-huh.
I didn't like this. Almost seems like some type of collusion kind of thing, like
Like, you're
something a
right.
little
It's so
deeper.
bizarre. Right. Yeah.
It
Huh.
is like even Gino, like he had some whatever stuff off the
Yeah.
field, but he was drafted in the beginning of the
39.
second, man. Like,
Yes.
dude, this is
Right.
like something I haven't seen before. So it has to be
Folks.
something higher than this, and
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever really know, the real story about why this happened the way it is.
Right. But this
So
is
that I
historic. I
I
just
just
want
wanted
you.
to address that.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
said you haven't seen it before. Of course you haven't. No one on God's green earth has seen something like this. That again, medical reasons you can understand. I talked about this with my pop earlier, but like just
Hmm.
straight up, a guy that expected to go insert and goes even in the 4th round, this would be one of the most dramatic falls we've ever seen in the history of the draft. And I'm a massive nerd of draft history. This would be one of the biggest falls of all time of a player that was projected here by everybody in the 1st round, not just ESPN. Everybody, scouts and everything, had a 1st-round grade, or at worst a 2nd-round grade on him, and he's still available here in the 4th round. This is absolutely seismic, especially the quarterback position. So, bonkers. We'll see what happens here on day 3.
I am excited though for our running back room. Just knowing that we
Mm-hmm.
got a couple of guys that's going to help out with the line, help out with blocking. Taylor leaking out into the flats, allow some play action stuff. Like, I do like this. I like the fact with new coaching, with better line coach, with better linemen, more cohesiveness. This might be one of the youngest lines in the NFL at this point, man. Everybody is young, dude. So for us
Feels
to be
good.
able to hopefully, because Vera Tucker, he's his contract is done at the end of the season. So
is John
we could
Simpson's. Yeah.
exact. So we can just get those two together, dude. We got a line like these 5 dudes just for the next who knows how many years, as long as they're happy, we're winning games, they're being treated right, like this is something that we could really look forward to. And it's like, who cares who the hell's in the backfield if we're just mauling and pancaking people in front of us? It don't matter who's back there. We could get BG in his prime in high school, carry the pigskin and get us for a couple yards. Like it don't matter, man. As long as you got a good line, man, we'll get some positive yards. So I really like what they're doing right now. The Sanders thing, that's like a head scratcher. We're it's entertaining at this point. Everyone's texting are like, "Yo, you see, this team didn't get him, that team didn't get him." I for sure thought the Steelers were going to get him, man.
For
I
sure.
thought
At
that
one
was
of these
like a
points.
given.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
But yeah, that's it, man. I'm gonna get going. Got a busy week ahead of us, man.
Of course.
Enjoy your birthday, man. Appreciate all the content. Salute to the Coffee Club members. Have a good one, brother.
I appreciate you, Chef. Thank you so much. And again, the NFL schedule release day. What's it? The 14th. So we're about to have some details after the draft, baby, on our Jets tailgate spectacular and getting everybody for that. All right, I think we got Floyd Lilly back. Let's give him a chance. Floyd Lilly?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Wow, you've never looked better.
Yeah, I know. My one computer, you can't hear me. This one you can't see me. This one's probably better. You don't want to look at me. I'm old anyway.
Yeah, what's on your mind, brother?
So first of all, happy birthday. Enjoy the
Thanks,
day.
pal.
Congratulations. A lot going on. This has been a great show.
Thank you.
I'm with your dad on a lot of things. I wish he was still on because I agree. I mean, I was okay with Armand first pick. I mean, Mason Graham was my man, but he was gone, so I was good with solidifying the O line. I'm okay with Taylor at second, but I really wanted a defensive tackle. Last year, I feel our biggest issue was not being able to stop the run. I think Quinnen was being double, triple teamed. I really want to solidify that defensive line, and I'm just shocked that we've gone through 3 picks and we haven't addressed
and look
it.
at this. So I was just peeking because, like, the thing you say is right to your point. You're like, I would have preferred a defensive tackle, and I go, well, what defensive tackles were like? Who was on the board that they passed on for Mason Taylor? And I didn't realize it because I'm sure we immediately jumped into reaction. The very next pick after the Jets was Alfred Collins out of Texas, who's the best run stuffing defensive tackle in this class. Higher than some people thought, fair, but still 43. There you go. Right there it is.
Yeah. And so I just hope with their next pick, they address it one way or the other with who is it? Is it Farmer from Florida
Joshua
State?
Farmer is the kid out of Florida State. He's at
And
defensive
then
tackle.
Walker out of one of them guys.
Oh yeah, Deion Walker. Sure.
We need somebody because I think that's a huge issue. I was watching something last night. I was watching a Jet thing on SNY or whatever, and they Brian Bollinger was on. He was talking about Mason Taylor, and he was saying how phenomenal catcher, phenomenal pass, receiver, but he can't. But he has a lot of issues blocking. So hopefully they can. That was his opinion. I don't know if it's
okay. Yeah, sure.
It's not true. It is. Last thing, I just want to address the Sanders thing because I'm shocked by it.
Of course,
we're all shocked by it. I think a good place for him would be, and I'll get your opinion on this, is Miami as a backup.
Fascinating. Interesting.
And this is why. Let me tell you why. Because I heard and I don't know how accurate Mel Kiper is, but I then whatever. I'll listen to what he has to say.
Yeah.
He's saying the best thing about Sanders is quick decisions and accuracy, and I think that falls right into McDaniel's type of quarterback. So, and if I was Miami, I wouldn't want to go in a season with Mr. Zach is their backup. So,
Hey, by the way, for Lily, do you know what jersey number Zach Wilson is wearing for Miami?
No, I don't.
Okay, so Jet fans. So you're probably not the only one who I can't believe this is true. This is not a troll job. This is 100% real for people who did not see this. Zach Wilson will wear number 0 for the Miami Dolphins, and there have been a lot of jokes immediately on social media. I'm not sure how Zach Wilson did not see that one coming, but yeah, he'll be the first quarterback in history. He will be wearing number 0. But to answer your point, though, I think you have Tua. Okay, he's obviously the guy. They have Zach Wilson, who they prioritized. Miami said, yeah, this is the top backup quarterback we wanted. So, okay. And then third would be Shaduer. And you have an offensive coach in Mike McDaniel, which, again, a timing-based offense, all that. Yeah, I think that'd be a terrific fit. Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think, but honestly, I know you want Shador, but
yes,
I wanted McCord, Kyle, out of Syracuse.
Yeah, he's still
I wanted
available.
him in the 5th round, but I don't think he's going to be there. I don't. I think he's going to get taken before Sanders. To be honest with you. So.
Oh wow, that'd be another one because we saw the looks for Dylan Gabriel. That would be. Woo.
I would
Maybe.
not be surprised. So
okay.
Anyway,
We'll
great
see.
show.
Thanks,
Appreciate
brother.
all you guys do, and have a happy birthday.
Thanks for Lily, and thank you for all the super chats for the birthday stuff too. That was awesome. Absolutely cool. Thank you, man. This show has been wild. 2+ hour live stream here. Back to the phone lines. Philium is here on the program. What's up, FL Phil 98? What's popping, baby?
First of all, happy birthday, sir.
Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, first of all, Sanders, obviously a huge shock that he's still out there, but there's a reason for it. We don't have to talk for 15 minutes about it. There's a reason for it. And I know it's your birthday, but I'm sorry, I do not want any part of him. We're set at quarterback for the next 2 years, whether Fields is our starter next year or our backup. And we can draft our guy next year if we, whatever. There's going to be a million guys we can pick up as a QB3 if Travis isn't ready. So I just, there's no point in Sanders to me. I agree with a lot of the guys that we're talking about. They were shocked that we didn't get a D lineman.
Yeah.
I was expecting that with the third. I was really expecting that with the third pick. I was kind of shocked that didn't happen. I'm just going to keep on trusting AG. But I put in the comments earlier, and you brought it up. I'm really wondering if this isn't. How I always talk about if you got a guy in that year 3, year 4, that you're really not sure if you want to commit the big bag. Do you want to do the 50-year option? Do you want to try and get him to sign a team-friendly deal first? Can I get him to go for a 3-year middle of the pack money? With like a 3rd or 4th year option where each side's got options, whatever ways to play it with Sauce rather than just give him the big money. And I really wonder if this wasn't that guy that he's saying, I'm going to bring this guy in. I'm not going to pick up the 50-year option. I'm going to try and negotiate during the season with Sauce. If this guy can add some pressure and, between, what's his name, Stevens and Thomas, did they put themselves in a position where they can trade Sauce? I don't know. It's just interesting to me that was the pick, and there's so much that could be. You could read a lot of stuff into that. And like we always talk about, pay everybody. So yeah, AVT is going to have to get paid, and Gardner, we definitely we know. I mean, Wilson, we know we want to pay, and there's other guys, JJ, whatever. I'm wondering if this isn't a safety valve pick in case they just don't want to give the bag to Sauce.
I think it can, again, to your point that we mentioned earlier, I think, you could solve multiple things, right? Like, to replace the equivalent of Brandon Eccles, we really didn't talk about that at all in the pre-draft process as something like that should be on our mind, maybe very surface level. So there's that. And to your point, you could accomplish both. Hey, we just got a Brandon Eccles replacement. And hey, if things don't work out, boop, boop, you could do this. Because again, people forget, and again, biggest misconception in draft land is that we need right tackle. We draft right tackle. No, sometimes it's 2 or 3 steps ahead. That's what Daramuji's job is. Foot in the present, foot in the future. And so it's a very compelling point, Philliam.
Yep. So I'm just interested to see how that all plays out. And what I like about both of these guys, the way they complement each other, like in the press conference, Muji's like, the buttoned up accountant guy. And then at the end, AG jumps in with you and find good players. I think they keep everything under their hat. I think there's always I always think there's a little tongue in cheek going on there too. Like they're just not exposing their hand at all.
Yeah. Oh my God, they answer absolutely nothing. I remember after night 1, right? The media's like, not taking a tight end seems kind of stupid is basically sort of what they're insinuating with the questions a little. And, like he goes like, yeah, I like our tight end room. Like he just ignores it. And then they go tight end. Like on his mind, he knew he was going tight end, but he gave no indication. He just went, yeah, we're going to tight end. And it takes tight end. Yeah, we really like the guy. You're like, son of a gun. He didn't give us bupkis. He didn't give any lean. What he really said is, to your point, who said this? I think it might have been you, Philliam. So if it wasn't you, take full credit because it's going to make you look smarter than you already are. Someone mentioned that in the first round presser, after he said it's really important to get in trench play, offensive lineman and defensive lineman. Wink, and people went, "Did that mean we're about to go defensive line in the second or third round?" Or is that a smokescreen? And it was a smokescreen. He took no defensive lineman. So he gave us a breadcrumb for nothing. Just a mystery random breadcrumb that was zip and pip. Also, the thing I wanted to say is you said that you thought it was going to be the third pick, and so did I. The defensive tackle was going to be the pick in the third round. Thankfully, I love having the draft results up because we could pull it quick. Only one defensive tackle went after the Jets picked in the third round, and there was a very popular name, Jamari Caldwell, the Oregon defensive lineman. He's the only player that ended up went to the Chargers of all teams a little bit later in that round. He was the only defensive tackle after the Jets picked A.Z. Thomas.
All right, so real quick, I can't take credit for that. I don't know who that was, but it was not me. But the one other thing I wanted to do before I jumped off here, the conversation about Breece Hall. We've been through this a few times, you and I. To me, if Breece is ever going to be the guy that we hoped and prayed he was going to be a couple of years ago, this is going to be it. He's playing for his life. He's playing for his contract. How does a 4th round pick instead of Breece Hall make any sense at all? It just doesn't. And the only argument people seem to make when I bring that up is, yeah, but if we lose him to free agency, we get nothing. So freaking what? I would rather take the shot at 1,500 yards from scrimmage from Breece Hall this year, right? Then give me a 4th round pick this year. Like what people seem to forget is if you take that 4th round pick, yeah, but now you don't have Breece Hall. So you got to replace Breece Hall. What are the odds that 4th round pick is going to be Breece Hall? I don't get it. I don't get it.
And for people that don't know, right? So the 4th round pick could be the trade this year, right? And then think about this, right? The people that say the comp pick, it's so crazy how Jet fans are. They're curious little bastards, right? That they're like, oh, if we lose Breece Hall for nothing, well, we would lose the potential opportunity of maybe getting a 6th round compensatory pick in 2026. What? Or 2027 would be. Who gives a, first off, that's like 2 years down the line, number one. And 2, who friggin' cares? We might not even get that pick. And how many busts have the Jets had in the 5th, 6th, 7th round? That's what we're going to change the entire course of history. Sorry, Breece, we want that 6th in 2 years. That makes no sense whatsoever. So it's so weird how Jet fans are so gung-ho on that. I don't know.
I don't understand it. And last thing on Breece, again, I think there's a reasonable conclusion that if he's ever going to, this is going to be a great year for him. If he's healthy and the new offensive line, the new coaching and all that hopefully helps. He's a guy. He's never been a guy who plunges through holes. But
Right.
if you give him a little daylight, he can do something. So
No
I think
doubt.
that bodes well. That bodes well for him. I think there's every opportunity for Brees to have a great year, and I would rather take that shot than pick up a 4th-round pick. It makes no sense to me. Lastly, if halfway through the season, if we're, please, I don't want this to be put into the atmosphere, but if we're 3-6 at the trading deadline, then go get a 4th-round pick for Brees Hall. I mean, there's just no reason to do it. And then lastly, if he's having a good year, you can always negotiate with him at that time. Now, a lot of people say we can always tag him. That's definitely true. I would rather not tag him. I would rather negotiate with him during the year. And if I do think I want to keep him, and I'm not sure I do, even if he has a great year, because I think running backs come and go and you can always replace them. We've talked about that. I don't want to pay running backs. But if I can get him for 3 years, 21 million or something like that, yeah, okay, we could talk about that.
Right. Your rules, to your point, and this should be for everyone in the world, that we talked about, someone brought up absolutes. We too often talk in absolutes, right? Philium doesn't like paying running backs. Here's the offer. Oh, well, that I'm normally not, but what did you just say? How much? Okay. So there can be depth to our answers. It's not always black and white. How much money are we talking about? What is this? What is this? More context, super important.
Yep. Always a pleasure, Paul. And again, happy birthday.
Yeah,
Go
appreciate
Jets.
it. There you go, Philium. Thank you. Here on the show. Thank you, everybody, for all the happy birthday messages. They mean the world. We've got 900 people in the room. We have a 2.5-hour live stream here. It's been wild. Draft is starting here shortly. Let's get one more call in. Come on, baby. Neil. And the light of the gods is shining upon you. There should be like some hallelujah music somewhere. What's up, Neil?
What's happening? Happy birthday, Paul.
Thanks, pal.
I hope that your dad. Let me ask you a question. I want an update. Do you have the washer dryer yet?
There's no washer dryer.
God damn it. Yeah. Could everybody, how many people are listening right now? How many people?
902.
Okay, look. 902. Would everybody give a $2 contribution to the Paul Boy Green? If you watch this show and you like Boy Green, okay, everybody can afford $2 or $3.
Sure.
Everybody listening right now, kick $3 in so this guy could get a goddamn washer and dryer already, because his pop is too goddamn cheap traveling around the world enjoying his life to get his son a washer dryer. So please, let's get that done. Number one. Number two, Brees Hall's not going anywhere, so let's forget about that. Phil Cole, that's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Thirdly,
yes,
we need a quarterback. We still are in search of that franchise quarterback that's eluded us for so long. Everybody's talking about defensive linemen, run stoppers in the 4th round. Let me tell you something. 4th round guys do not start in the NFL on the defensive line very often, okay? If you look back at the last 5 drafts, and I'm not a draft guy, and we're all geniuses, and we all think we're going to take this cherry out of the sky, and we're going to put a defensive fatty on the line. He's going to get through to the quarterback and hit guys in the backfield. If there were any of those guys, they already have been drafted, okay? We need a goddamn quarterback, Paul. And you know what? Indy Jet with his Rogers derangement syndrome, all the same guys, your dad, that have the Rogers derangement syndrome have the Sanders derangement syndrome.
Yes.
Because
It's just sort of transitioned over ownership, right? Yeah.
Okay. And I will bet you, if we turn the clock back to 1968, Indy Jet fan would be saying, we don't want brought this guy Namath. He's a cocky guy. He goes to places. I heard he does drugs. He's a hippie. He's a girl chaser. I don't want that guy. Hello. This is, look, Shaduer Sanders is going in the 4th round. Now, in the 4th round, you're only paying a guy $4 million.
Yeah, chump change. Sure.
That's
just a really.
What he got to lose? You take the guy, you give him $4 million. He's eating a ton of crow here.
Yeah.
We need a quarterback. And the bottom line is, could he be any worse than a guy that didn't even we're talking about a guy that we got in the 5th round last year that never saw the field. Okay?
Right.
That's our third quarterback right now. We got Tyrod for one more year. Okay, what are we going to do here? You got to be crazy not to take a shot on the guy.
Yeah,
He's
$4
going to be
million.
humble. We're talking about his father. His father's a college coach.
Yeah.
Okay, and Dion is as polarizing as you can get. Okay, arguably the best cornerback ever to strap on a uniform. You can't even argue.
No.
Punt returner, kick returner, shutdown
Hall of
corner,
Famer. Yeah.
pick sixes. The guy was the best in the game. And that's his son. How bad is he going to be? I mean, come on, guys. You got to take a shot here. It's a joke. What are we going to do? Keep going like everybody else. Somebody's going to take this guy, and he's going to show it. God forbid he goes to Miami. Because I'm going to tell you right now, he's going to go to Miami. Nobody wanted Dan Marino. We shut our eyes because supposedly he did cocaine in college, and nobody wanted to touch him.
Yeah, come on. We've all been there. Sure.
Right. And we got Ken O'Brien instead because we were spiting ourselves. Guys, take a shot on him. Let's see what happens. Give Poy Green his birthday wish. Let's get a quarterback in this goddamn draft. If it's not him and this pick, it better be Will Howard or it better be the kid from Syracuse.
McCord,
what's McCord? I watched these guys with the Chucky Gruden quarterback thing. They all look great. Pick one now. Because they're all going to go in this round. You know, Howard's going to go. The kid in Syracuse is going to go. And somebody's going to take Sanders. I'm telling you right now. You got to be crazy not to take him. Because like I said, he's not going to be a showboat now. He ate his crow. He's going to be, he's going to be out of his father's shadow. And he's going to be, eating humble pie, and we need a quarterback. We have nobody. Who the hell is our quarterback? You need to tell me when we're 3-6 and Fields is throwing picks and we're looking like shit. What do you want? Is anybody going to get excited about running to MetLife Stadium to see Tyrod Taylor play his last 8 games as a Jet? I'm not going to be excited. Are you, Paul?
No, that's a Ty
Adrian
God.
Gonzalez. I was excited over Adrian Gonzalez last year. He looked great in the preseason. He was our best quarterback.
That's Adrian Martinez.
Martinez.
But,
is he going to be the guy we won't want to run out to MetLife and buy a shirt on?
I don't think so.
Right? But Shaduer Sanders. Hey, look, he's polarizing, but he'll do something. That's my take. Let's get a quarterback. Screw the fat offensive lineman. You can get them for $3 million in free agency. Forget the wide receivers. We got 3 or 4 still in free agency we could pick up. Let's get a goddamn quarterback.
There he is, Neil, joining us on the show. What comes first, the washer or dryer, or the Jets taking a quarterback? Stay tuned and find out. We'll take one more caller here, and then we'll wrap up the show. Let's see if audio all fixed. Terrence?
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, it still sounds like you're like in a hole or something. I don't know why it sounds like that.
All right, I'm gonna have a friend call me and try to go back and forth with him and try to fix this. All right, does it move? Like, does
It's sort of. Let me, I guess, ask the chat. So, chat, you can respond here when Terrence is talking. How good can you hear that? Does it sound really good or sort of so? Go ahead, Terrence. Go ahead and talk.
Is it muffled? Because it sounds really good for me, like here.
Okay. Yeah.
But through the internet to you, it's not. Is that what's going on?
Okay, this sounds a little bit better now. So yeah.
So if I put my
not even the
mouth,
cupping, just before that, before a couple of hit, just you
good.
sound. It says it sounds somewhat muffled, but go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. It's not. It's not bad, just a little low. People are saying fine. It sounds thin. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
go ahead.
I'm gonna start calling back in. I gotta get this thing fixed up and ready to go. But I just want to let you guys know, man. Once again, thank y'all for all the information y'all gave me for all the college stuff. But Brees Hall isn't going anywhere. Please stop it.
Go.
Please, everybody. you don't. This guy is playing for a contract. You don't want to get. So you want Brees Hall to go to another team to play well for a contract, and they do well with him and not with us. And the 4th round pick is gonna get how many yards for us?
Yeah,
how many catches for us?
Yeah.
Yo, let me tell you something, man. Aaron Glenn is and of course we all know this, he's a Parcells guy.
Yeah.
But this is what he's doing, okay? He's gonna draft a player and he's gonna say, look, I need you to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I know that looks very promising, but I need you to do this. If you do this, you will get playing time. If you don't do this and you do that, we're going to take your helmet, and the next dude's going to go in there and he's going to do this. And if he does this well, he gets the playing time. That's why he's drafting that cornerback. Because Sauce last year, remember week 1? I wrote down in my notes and I got back after we lost.
Yes.
And I said, Sauce doesn't tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, if Sauce doesn't tackle this year, give me that helmet. You go in there and you do this. And that's what's happening with the Jets right now. That's what all of us need to understand. That it's all about, I know what I want to do as a coach. That's why we're going to coach the team. But Parcells did the same thing. You're going to do this, and if you don't do, like Clemens, what's the lineman we have that we all want gone?
Michael Clemens.
Yeah. Last year, Salah couldn't go to him and say, if you don't do this, you're sitting down.
Right. No accountability. Right.
At all.
Right.
This year, totally different. That's why Clemens might be a better player this year than last year.
Perhaps, yeah.
Because they're going to give Clemens a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
See, Clemens messing up last year probably wasn't Clemens' fault. It was probably Salah and the defense, the coaching's fault.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So keep in mind, guys, this regime is going to be like, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. If you don't do it, I got guys behind you that's going to do it for us. And that's where the competition level is. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say damn straight. Here's this for after. Wrong Verb says the mic isn't connected. You're speaking through your computer right now. So that's what I believe may be the issue in audio setting. If you are on StreamYard, and this is for future callers as well, you can control which place your audio is coming out of if you hit the settings button. Sometimes it defaults to the computer. So you have to flip it to the mic if you do have that as an option. So just something there, Terrence, yeah, so you can work on that, but appreciate it, Terrence, as always. Thanks for the call, brother, and always the positivity, spreading the optimism. That's great. Brian Farrell asked, what time is the draft today? It is at noon, which is under 2 hours away. I'm actually going to go write a Shaduer Sanders piece, baby. But I have enjoyed all the conversation. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. Heavy on Jets for all the articles. You guys can check that out. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you for the birthday wishes. A surprising 2.5 hour show today. Great. Again, we won't be live until maybe after the draft. We'll do a full recap of the draft show. We'll see how timing works with the birthday and everything and whatever else my fiance has planned after the draft. But regardless, every pick that the Jets make and undrafted free agent signing and all that stuff, stay tuned here on YouTube. Like the video, hit subscribe. We'll be cranking out content. So minutes after each pick, boom, the video content's going to be coming out on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Again, thank you guys. Love you guys. Support the show. Like the video. Hit subscribe. If you're watching right now on Facebook or Twitter, hop on over. Open up a new tab. Go to a different app on your phone. Type in youtube.com/boygreen25baby and subscribe to the channel, please. Hey, you're like, oh, what can I get you for your birthday, Boy Green? Subscribe to the channel, baby, and share out the videos and things of that nature. That'd be a great help. I love doing this for a living. It's a dream, and you guys can help me each and every day. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks for the birthday wishes, and we'll see you later today here on youtube.com/boygreen25.